Hello everyone, welcome to the stream today. Hello. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Princess Evillan. I'm streaming here on Twitch, and I post all my VODs to youtube.com/@princessevillanvods. So if you missed this series, Cinderella Phenomenon, you're looking for more things that I've done, you want to see the other cool games that I've been playing, go check out the VODs channel. I appreciate it. Anyways, thanks for showing up today, guys. I'm excited to play more Cinderella Phenomenon. We're going to be trying to finish the Fritz route today. If you don't remember what we've been doing so far, our personal knight, Fritz, has been looking for us since we got kicked out of the castle. And he finally found us, and then we find out that he has like a multiple personality situation where there's another person in him named Varg who is trying to keep us safe and held captive almost. He doesn't have the best intentions, but yeah, so I'm excited to see where they take this Little Red Riding Hood story with Fritz, and let's just jump into it, guys. Alright. We're gonna continue, and let's see. Last we were at was chapter 6. How many chapters is there usually? 8? 8 or so? Yeah, so we should be able to finish it up today. Anyways, let's start. We're starting with a memory. Tell me the story again. Do you never tire of that story, love? Please. Well, since you asked so nicely. Once upon a time there was a queen who had a daughter that she loved very much. But the kingdom the queen ruled was a cruel and mean place. The people were liars and thieves, and it was terribly dangerous. The queen knew that the kingdom would never be safe for her beloved daughter if she didn't work to change it. So the queen worked day and night. With magic. Hush, dear. So the queen worked day and night and used her magic to take the bad people's energy from them so they couldn't cheat and steal it and lie. Interesting. So that's like her mom almost admitting that she's a witch. And then the queen made sure the energy would stay with her and her beloved daughter so nothing could ever harm them again. And the queen and her daughter lived happily ever after. Interesting. There are 2 days remaining until my 18th birthday. Yeah, so on our 18th birthday, our magic powers are supposed to, like, appear. So it's a big deal. And we're supposed to end up... I don't think we know this yet in this route, but on our 18th birthday, we're supposed to inherit the Dark Crystal and become the Dark Crystal bearer. So I think that has something to do with, like, Mythos and Sir Alcaster wanting to resurrect our mom. I think it has something to do with that. There's a lot of theories going around. I've had a lot of time to think about this. I've been living in the palace for the last few months, and while it is not what I expected, it is still not so dissimilar that I am uncomfortable. I get to stay in my own room and am served the same food as the occupants of the palace. Only now I'm not expected to share my meals with the king and his family. It was strange that nobody even asked who I am, not even the king, but that did not matter. What is important is that I'm back in the palace. Is that the only important thing, though? Only a witch like Sir Mythos could have orchestrated all this. Magic was all I needed to bring you back here. Convenient, isn't it? Who exactly are you, Sir Mythos? What is a witch like you doing in the palace? I am your mother's faithful servant, Your Highness. But I do not recall ever seeing you here until after Mother passed away. Ah, secrets. Someone's not telling the whole truth. I did not work within the palace at the time, but once your mother passed, I took a job here to fulfill her wishes to protect you. Oof. I was consumed with worry when you disappeared all those months ago. I suspected immediately that you were cursed and that the light bearer had acted to keep you concealed from me. If only you could understand the relief I felt when I learned that Fritz had found you. How will you prove that you're not like the people at the margin, that you will not lie to me or betray me? Sir Mythos kneels in front of me and places a hand over his heart. I made a promise to my queen that I would give you my undying loyalty, princess. I would protect you with my life. Him saying that does little to convince me that I can trust him. Yeah, actions over words, guy. Everything I'm doing is in service to my queen and my princess. So what is it that mother requires me to do? Patience. I wouldn't want to ruin the surprise. Yeah, I'm getting total flags of like, mom needs to be reincarnated into our body for it to work. Sir Mithras claims he is mother's faithful servant, but should be enough reason for me. Oh, that should be enough reason for me to trust him, but I'm still on edge. What is this surprise he has in store for me? Only have a couple days left. My thoughts drift back to the occupants of the Merchant. They kept saying that they cared about me, yet I have not heard from them at all. Even Rod, who lives here, I barely even see him. And Fritz. Since I returned to the palace, I've been seeing less and less of Fritz and more of Varg. Ew. In the beginning, I continuously asked Fritz about his memories of specific days, of the time when he was Varg. Fritz never seemed to recall anything. Yeah, so like Fritz doesn't even know that he is a curse. He doesn't even know that he has multiple personalities going on in his head. He just smiled at me sheepishly and told me that his age is probably making his memory worse. Fritz isn't even that old. Since then, things have changed. I no longer bother asking about Fritz. I'm no longer asking Fritz about things he surely does not remember. Fritz does not remember anything related to Varg. Yeah, but Varg retains all of his memories of Fritz. Interesting. I know I should tell Fritz about Varg, but how do you explain that? Yeah, it is the fear that he would not believe me, but also something much worse. I'm worried that whatever it is inside of Fritz will only lash out at me, the part of him that Varg came from. If I were Fritz, I would not be able to believe it either. I look towards my shelf of dolls, unable to shake my feelings of disquiet. The dolls are all the same as always, their glassy gazes focused on nothing and everything. It looks so empty without Delora, probably. Oh, I miss Delora. No, I do not miss her. I do, I miss her. I do not miss anyone. Right? Wrong. She's still so frigid in this season, and she hasn't made any progress on doing good deeds. The sound of footsteps pulls me out of my thoughts. Who else is wandering the halls at this time of night? Is it Varg? I'm unable to restrain my curiosity, and the emotion soon drives me from my room and out into the hallway. We have no guards? I gingerly follow the faded footsteps down the hallway, and there I see two familiar people. Sir Mithras and Sir Alcaster? I grow impatient. 2 days is an insignificant amount of time when you've already waited so long. I've been waiting years. The princess is safe and will continue to be safe, just as you have required. Our agreement was clear, Sir Alcaster. I will not help you until after the princess turns 18. I would remember the sort of aid you have requested me. That prevents us from killing Gennaro now. Oof. Gonna kill our dad? A small gasp comes from my mouth and I'm not able to muffle it in time, despite the fact that I hold my hands up to my lips to keep myself from shouting. I stop breathing even as my mind whirls. Kill the king? Why would Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithras want to do that? That sound. Do not try and distract me. What do we lose by acting now? We could lose everything if we act too hastily. I think it would do you good to learn some patience from your son. Ooh, Varg. Sir Alcaster. Varg, what a pleasant surprise. Mithras smirks as Varg moves to stand just off the side of the two of the men, his expression solemn. I trust that you have tamed Fritz. What are you talking about? You have not noticed, even when your own son is being overwhelmed? Varg is gaining control, slowly but surely. Gasp! He no longer has to wait for Fritz's consciousness to descend into sleep. In a few weeks, perhaps even days, Varg may be able to help us during the day. then that is why I've only seen Varg at night. If he can act during the day as well, what will happen to Fritz? He'll be like completely overwhelmed. He won't be able to like come out to the surface anymore. I hope you're not trying to avoid your mission and staying here. How curious. Perhaps Fritz is stronger than you think. That weakling? Don't make me laugh. I just find this extremely boring. Varg shrugs before walking away. How interesting. I do not approve of his methods. What would you have me do to improve them? He completes every task you give him. He has softened. Has he? Well, let us see if he completes this task. Then we will know for certain where his loyalties lie. Yeah, because in the past 2 routes, Varg, like, took orders from Mithros and Sir Alcaster, but he kind of had a more, like, neutral position and everything. Like, he could have captured us in a couple of the previous routes, but he didn't. He just kind of, like, is like, haha, I'm here, and then disappears. As Sir Mithros and Sir Alcaster begin to walk away, I exhale. I feel a slight shudder when Sir Mithros stops and gazes behind him, his eyes wandering to my hiding place at the end of the hall. My heart thumps loudly in my ears as I wait to hear him leave. The wind has a bitter chill to it tonight. Like ice. Uh-oh. Mithros turns on his heels with a slight twitch of his lips before he disappears. He knows! He knows! I make my way back to my room in a daze. My whole body feels weak, and when I eventually get to my bed, I crash down on it feeling numb. They mean to kill the king, but why? Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros are 2 of his most trusted advisors. What could the king have done to make them desire his death? And why does Sir Mithros want to wait until I'm 18? What happens then? Does this have anything to do with that gift he was talking about? Does Sir Mithros plan on using me for something? I think so. I clench my hands into fists and inhale sharply. I think of the other things that came up in conversation. They said that Varg might be able to act during the day soon. Does this mean Fritz will disappear? My breath catches in my throat at the thought. Flashback. Princess? There's no need to look at me like that. It's my job to know you, Princess. And right now I know something's not right. It's your job to protect me. Knowing me is a very different thing. Princess, please, perhaps you should worry more about yourself. My job as a knight is to protect my charge, to put their life before mine. If I can't protect you, how can I call myself a knight? Fritz reaches out as if to touch me, but I shrink away. Do not touch me. Sorry, Princess. Please know I'm always here if you need to talk. If Fritz disappears, what will happen? I almost jump when I hear someone shouting just outside my door. Quickly, Evillan! Rod? I quickly stand up and move towards my door, pulling it open to catch a glimpse of the outside. I end up opening the door in Rod's face. He comes to an abrupt stop and glares at the door that blocks his straight path. His hand is outstretched as if he meant to reach for my door. Rod? Evillan? It's so late. What are they doing out of their rooms? Rod's fingers tighten over Evillan's hand. They both look exhausted, and Evillan is on the verge of tears. What is happening? They don't even like us. Rod seems to consider something before he finally comes to a silent conclusion. His eyes glare right into mine. Get out of the way. Ooh, I see. Rod's voice is colder than usual, even for him. Evillan's eyes widen as she stares at him in shock. Rod, but I thought... This isn't the time. Ah, so here's where the rabbits escaped. Varg? Varg is slowly making his way over to us, his posture relaxed, expression indifferent. He does not even look winded. Well, this is a complication. Ooh, okay. We have a choice. We could move, which I don't know if that is moving out of the way or moving into their way, or we could help them. I don't know what's going on. And Rod did just say to move. Maybe we should help them. Let's see how it goes if we help them. Is this the mission Sir Alcaster was referring to? Rod tugs at Emmeline's wrist to prompt her into motion, but the two of them are too slow. In one swift movement, Varg has circled them and tripped Emmeline, toppling her to the floor. Varg moves forward to grab her, but before he can so much as touch her, I jump into action, pushing Varg from the side. I move to stand between Emmeline and Varg. I can hear Rod helping his sister up, but my eyes are trained on Varg. What are you going to do to them? Why do you care? Why do I care? Because I know this isn't something Fritz would do. Varg hesitates, giving Rod time to act. Rod throws a vial that breaks upon impact with the floor. It releases a cloud of smoke that envelops everything around it. I feel someone's fingers at my wrist, and then I'm being dragged away. When my vision clears, I see Emmeline standing before me, holding my wrist tightly. Come on! What was that? It's something Lady Parfait made for our escape. Our escape? Did you really think the Marchand gave up on you? Yes, we did. We must move. This is the most interaction we've had with Rod in, like, all the routes we've played in. Usually he's never around. We run towards the palace tunnels, a place I have not visited in many years, but we did use them in our other routes. I thought they barricaded this. Not quite. Do you think we've lost him? Probably not. Nope, not yet. Emmeline turns to me, her eyebrows drawn over her eyes in a look of sympathy. I'm so sorry you got caught up in this. I know that we were all meant to escape together according to Rod, but we were not expecting it to be like this. It was difficult to get a hold of you with Varg hanging around. But thank you for what you did back there. Ooh, we got good points. Good girl points. Nice. I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't helped us. I'm suddenly uncomfortable speaking to her, so I turn to face Rod instead. What does Varg want with you? My best guess is that he wants us dead. Huh? That can't be. How else would you explain the way he came after us, Em? But why would he want you dead? Rod's bright eyes seem fiercer in the darkness of the tunnels. I think it must be what his master wants. After all, dogs only respond to orders. I'm offended, Prince. Oh, there's Varg, right on cue. You! I whirl around, dread rising in my chest as I turn to look at Varg, who is slowly catching up to us. This was meant to be quick. Varg looks at me, his eyes glittering with amusement. But as always, you complicate things, Princess. I cannot hide how much I'm trembling, but I still hold out my arm to protect the siblings. Go. Not without you. Go now. Come on. Yeah, get the siblings out of there. I turn back to Varg as the two flee. My body tenses as I wait for Varg to move. I will stop him, or at least buy them some more time. But Varg remains still as a statue. He remains rooted to the spot. I have no idea how long we stand there, frozen in place. You never cease to amaze me. So what's going to happen now? Were you going to kill them? He's not answering. Does that mean I'm right? Is this what Sir Alcaster ordered you to do? Why else would I be here if not for an order? Why would he want you to kill Rod and Emmeline? And why does he want to kill the king? You overheard quite a bit, huh? Probably a little more than you should have. The tension in the air becomes palpable, and it becomes harder to breathe. Varg's fingers tighten on his cane. He wouldn't hurt me, would he? Varg moves, and for a few moments I'm frozen with terror. Then a word I had forgotten long ago suddenly comes to my lips, unbidden. A word that Fritz once told me before. Adwava? Ooh. This time it is Varg that freezes. He raises his cane, but it never comes down. His eyes are wild, even though he hasn't moved. Suddenly, he looks as if he's restraining himself. I can see the struggle on his contorted expression, and then I realize that he is fighting to stay in control. It worked? I remain still for another moment, my mind racing. Ooh. Varg drops to his knees, and I see shadows forming beneath him. Tendrils of darkness snake their way up his body, beginning to engulf him. This is what happened last time when he changed back into Fritz. There's still awareness in Varg's eyes, however. His gaze is cold and accusatory. It remains that way even as the shadows creep their way up to his face. I find my feet again and rush past Varg into the depths of the palace. I run, too frightened of what I might find if I look back. Yeah, Fritz isn't safe. Are you alright? If you truly are worried for my safety, then you should have told the king how unsafe it is for me to leave the palace. Isn't that a job's night, Sir Fitzgerald? Do you have so little faith in me? What? Don't you trust me to keep you safe, princess? 3 years ago, when I swore that I would give my life for yours, I meant it. I still do. I would never let anything harm you, ever. Except for him. Perhaps I need to make another promise to you, princess, so that I may ease your worries. Remember this carefully, okay? Adwava. I'm saying Adova. What does that mean? It's from an old language that no one speaks anymore. It's what people used to say when they were calling for help. Something to call when I need help? If for any reason I'm not there and you need me, just say that word. Scream it at the top of your lungs if you need to. I promise I'll come running. A knight would never break a promise to his lady. Trust in me. Aw, that's really sweet. I have to go. Icy as always. Did we earn a crystal shard for helping Rod and Evillan get out of the castle? I've been awake for hours, unable to sleep. I stand at my window waiting for something to happen, anything to happen, but all is still beyond the glass window pane. I have no idea what I ought to do. What is going to happen now? Should I tell someone? I return to the palace because my room feels like the safest place, but why? Am I here because I feel the need to tell the king what happened? Because I hope that Fritz will return? I do not even know if the king is still here. I haven't seen him at all. My hands instinctively reach out for my necklace and I realize that there's an additional piece. Hell yeah! First good deed. 2 left. I look down and a small gasp escapes my lips when I notice a new piece of the glass slipper. A new piece of the slipper. But how? What was my good deed? I remembered the night I helped Rod and Evillan escape from Varg. Was that a good deed? Princess? Hey, it's Fritz. What's up, Fritz? I've been looking for Prince Rod and Princess Evillan. Have you seen them? Nope. My eyes are beginning to sting. I'm startled when I realize that there are tears burning in my eyes. What? What's wrong? Varg is gaining control, slowly but surely. He no longer has to wait for Fritz's consciousness to descend into sleep. In a few weeks, perhaps even days, Varg may be able to help us during the day. Can I even trust Fritz now? Fritz looks at me with worry clear on his face. He draws closer to me, his hand reaching out for me. Varg. I pull back immediately, my breath caught in my throat. Princess? For a moment, I just saw Varg. What is going on? Will he believe me if I'm straightforward? Something's been wrong ever since we returned to the palace. Princess, please, Fritz clenches his hands in a fist, his face twists with obvious pain. Please let me help you. Oh, okay, another choice. I think we should have him help us, but I'm still concerned because everything that we tell Fritz, Varg is gonna know, because he knows everything that Fritz knows. But it's not the other way around. I don't think we get anything out of doubting him, so I think we should let him help us. Fritz, I do not know how to explain. Plus, we need to, explain the situation to him. He needs to have some kind of, consciousness about what's happening. He can't just simply think that he goes to sleep and gets, knocked the fuck out until the next morning. He's gonna lose all control at this point. He slowly moves towards me again. Start from the beginning. Fritz carefully slides his hand over mine. I can trust him, right? Fritz, you're cursed. Princess, you've been worrying about me? There's no reason for you to be concerned about me. Neither of us have actually seen this curse in action. You're cursed with a separate, cruel personality. It's one that has been scaring me, and last night, you were going to kill Rod and Emmeline. His gaze is a confused muddle of worry and doubt. You don't believe me. I do not doubt you, Princess. I'm just confused. How could I not know about the existence of an alternate personality, or about a curse inflicted on me? I pull my hand away from him and cross to the other side of my room so that my bed acts as a barrier between us. But Varg knows you. How is it possible that Varg is so aware of you when you do not even know he exists? I begin to pace, my emotions whirling. How am I supposed to trust you when you won't even trust me? You're supposed to believe in me. How could you not? Why do you think I would lie about this? Last night I thought Varg was going to kill me, and I used that word you taught me because I felt I was in danger. What? I said it and he stopped, and I thought maybe it was you who heard me say that word. The words become tar in my throat, choking me. I trusted you. Fritz's eyes are dark as he drops his gaze to look solemnly at the floor. And now? Now I do not know if I am meant to. Silence descends upon my room. When I finally look at Fritz again, the man I see is a stranger. Gone is the Fritz I once knew, and standing in his place is nothing but a shadow. I thought he'd be different. He showed me so much kindness and pretended to care, and yet, Mother was right. Mother was always right. Mother knows best. Listen to your mother. It's a scary world out there. I feel a dull ache in my chest as I turn on my heels to look away from Fritz. This is what happens when you trust in someone. This is what happens when you begin to believe in others. Hugs! Hugs! He's kind of overstepping his bounds as our knight now, but we chose this route. We know what we were doing. I gasp when I feel strong arms wrap around me from behind. I can feel Fritz's warm breath against the back of my neck. It sends shivers tumbling down my spine. Let me go, Fritz. No. I order you to let me go. But Fritz only tightens his grip. While the warm embrace is suffocating, it is also oddly comforting. Sorry, Princess. I cannot be ordered to leave you like this. I swore an oath to you and made a promise to myself that I would always stand by your side. No matter how much you push me away, I will always be here for you. From the day I was assigned to you, I saw how much you suffered. That's why I will protect you with everything that I am. I bite my lip as I struggle to keep myself from crying. How can I trust Fritz's words when Varg has done nothing but cause suffering to everyone around me? But it seems like I also have been the one to cause you so much pain. He loosens his arms until I'm no longer within his embrace. I suddenly feel cold and empty, but I do not move towards Fritz again. His voice is very soft when he speaks again. I'm sorry. I do not look up when he leaves. You cannot rely on anyone but yourself. You cannot trust anyone but yourself. How could I have forgotten that? Ooh, okay, we're gonna have to reload because that was not the right choice. Although I think it is. I think that's the good choice, but apparently not. Let's load, not rewrite. I've done that way too many times. Load. We're gonna doubt him. I doubt you can. This is more, doubting him is more in line with our character anyways, which always seems to be the right choice, staying in line with our character. As opposed to like getting these soft scenes of like us opening up and trusting people and like being helpful. My chest begins to ache, my heart feels heavy. You'd never believe me. There is certainty in Fritz's eyes that was not there before. He looks at me with fierce determination. Try me. I sigh and rub my hand over my eyes. You are cursed. His silence is all the response I needed. I knew this would happen. I knew he still wouldn't believe me. Princess, we've talked about this before, but what exactly are you seeing that makes you so firmly believe that? I eye him warily. Will he really listen to me? You are cursed with an alternate personality, a cruel one. I've known him for months now. Varg, well, you, Fritz, were going to kill Rod and Emmeline last night. He reaches out to rest his hand atop mine on the windowsill. His determination has dwindled into uncertainty. You don't believe me. I believe you, Princess. I can see it in your eyes, Fritz. You doubt me. I do not doubt you, Princess. I'm just confused. How can I not know about the existence of an alternate personality or about a curse inflicted on me? I pull my hand away from him and cross to the other side of the room so my bed acts as a barrier. But Varg knows you. How is it possible that Varg is so aware of you when you do not even know he exists? I begin to pace, my emotions whirling. How am I to trust you when you won't even trust me? I knew you weren't going to believe me. How could I have been so stupid to think that you would? Princess. Ooh, there's our good girl points. He begins to move towards me, but I stop in his tracks with a single glare. Don't. Silence descends upon my room. When I finally look at Fritz again, the man I see is a stranger. Gone is the Fritz that I once knew, and standing in his place is nothing but a shadow. I thought he'd be different. He showed me so much kindness and pretended to care, and yet, Mother was right. Mother was always right. I feel a dull ache in my chest as I turn on my heels to look away from Fritz. Oh, OBS disconnected. Wait a second. Hopefully that'll reconnect. I drink some coffee in the meantime. There we go. Reconnected. This is what happens when you trust in someone. This is what happens when you begin to believe in others. And there's our hug. And we just skip forward. There we go. If I'd been able to have my way, I would not have left my room at all. After everything that has happened, I do not think I want to know what Sir Mithros' request is. I'm also worried about this so-called wonderful gift he wants to show me. Perhaps he means to kill me, along with the king. Surely I should be more alarmed at this epiphany. Yet for some reason I only feel numb. There's Varg, right on cue. I do not acknowledge Varg when he enters the room. Princess, I'd ask what you're thinking about, but it's written all over your face. Huh. That, and I happen to have the memories of it too. Poor princess. Your knight in shining armor turned out to be less of a hero than you thought. Stop it. Hurts, doesn't it? Well, I did tell you. I wonder why you're so surprised. Varg, you. I think you're annoying our princess, Varg. Sir Mithros' presence, for once, is actually a relief. He bows to me, but I no longer believe the smile on his face. Princess, you have my most sincere thanks for agreeing to meet me at such late notice. What is it you want to show me, Sir Mithros? Actually, answer me this first, as it has been troubling me for some time. Why do you want to kill the king? I see we have much to talk about. Let us walk and talk, if you do not mind. Sir Mithros looks at Varg. Do not disturb us, Varg. Tch. Yeah, like, they're not nice to Varg. They're, like, more controlling with him. And he's always had kind of a neutral stance in most of our routes. Like, he helps... I don't think he helps kidnap us, but he definitely helps hold us hostage in the palace. But he always has kind of a neutral stance to everything. Varg disappears back into whatever shadow he'd emerged from as Sir Mithros and I make our way back into the hall. It seems my suspicions were correct. You did overhear Alacaster and I the other night, didn't you? Princess, I must assure you that I have nothing but your best wishes at heart. Yeah, right. I don't believe that. It is not I that wishes to remove your father from power. That is Sir Alacaster's desire. Which, that makes sense, because in the Karma route, he wanted to usurp the throne. And he was planning on killing the king and the royal family to do that. Is this what Durian spoke of all those months ago? Did she discover Sir Alacaster's motives only to be discharged from the order as a result? Why did you agree to help him? I required Sir Alacaster's assistance for certain things. It was a mutually beneficial decision for both of us to work together. But do not worry, I never had any intention of going through with your father's murder. I don't believe that. Is that why you were delaying him until after my birthday? Sir Mithros' smile is almost genuine. My princess is wise, just like her mother. I realize that Sir Mithros has led me into the secret tunnels. Where are you taking me now? My princess is also impatient, just like her mother. Jesus. The impudence of this man. You said Varg answered to you, but he also carries out Sir Alacaster's orders. It was Sir Alacaster's desire to take over Angiel as cleanly as he could, He sought to accomplish that by killing all those with a claim to the throne, Sir Rod and Emmeline. But I was never going to let him kill you. In exchange for ensuring your safety, Sir Alcaster required, among other things, a servant. So I provided him with one. Oh. Did Mithros curse Fritz? Sir Alcaster needed someone that would remain close to him, hidden in plain sight, so to speak. He also required that they have the skills of a trained knight. Yeah, he totally cursed Fritz. Sir Fitzgerald was capable of guarding you, my princess, but he was not capable of carrying out Sir Alcaster's other orders. But why go to such lengths to curse Fritz? Princess, Sir Mithras focuses an intent gaze on me. Something dangerous and bright shimmers in his eyes. I shrink back. Any threat to your life had to be removed. Besides, I'm under the impression that your loyal knight would be happy to sacrifice part of himself in order to become the perfect guardian. What do you gain from doing all this? I require something from you, something only you can provide. It is something I had to wait for, as you need to be 18 in order to give it to me. I have been preparing this gift for you for a long time, my princess. It is the gift of resurrection. Yeah, that's what I thought. I will bring back the queen. What? Will you help me? Ooh. Ooh, this is a big choice. So many choices in chapter 6. Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know which one to do. Tell me what I must do, like, goes along with Mithros, but, like, we know that our mother is dead. We just don't have the information that she was the Dark Crystal Bearer and that some of her energy is still in the Dark Crystal. So, what if we go on with Mother is dead? Let's see how that ends up. Mother is dead. Only in name. Mother has been dead for years. If she'd been alive, I would have known. Your mother sustained great injuries during the Great War. She needed time to heal. Then where has she been, and why would she pretend to be dead? Why would she leave me alone? Your mother is sleeping, and you're the only one that can wake her. Ooh, there we go. There's her good girl points. Why me? My princess, you are heir to more than just the kingdom of Angiel. Yeah. Queen Hilda was the bearer of the crystal, the Dark Crystal, one of the 2 crystals of Angiel. What? There we go. There's the information that we were missing. As her daughter, you are the next bearer. You are destined to be a great witch, just like your mother. My mother? A witch? Impossible. It is the truth. You were so young then, my princess, and the world was so cruel to you. Why do I not remember any of this? The queen sought to protect you and shrouded your memories with the pain you suffered at the hands of humans. Is this why the people of Angiel despise and fear me? But once you turn 18, you will inherit the full abilities of the Dark Crystal Bearer. With that power, we can revive your mother. Is this not what you've been dreaming of since you lost her? I dared to even dream this was possible. For so many years, all I wanted was Mother to return to me. But now, no, I cannot falter. Mother was the only person I could trust. She is still the only person who loves me. I've made my decision. Tell me what I must do. There we go. Okay, so it kind of like winds us into the correct choice anyways, even if we like don't get the information that we need from the good girl route. Sir Mithras smiles and steps aside. Behind him is a large rusty door. Come with me. Ooh. Is that our mom? Gasp! Mother! She's still as beautiful as the day she became one with the Dark Crystal. Sir Mithras reverently strokes his hand across the Dark Crystal as if caressing Mother's face. These last 4 years I have come to visit her as much as I possibly can, but I cannot wait to see her beauty grace the halls of the palace once more. Sir Mithras turns to me. Place your hands on the Dark Crystal. Wait, before I do this, Sir Mithras, you said you have no desire to kill the king. Yes? Swear to me that you will not allow Sir Alcaster's plans to succeed. Swear that you will protect the lives of the royal family. I do not wholly understand why I am asking this of Sir Mithras, yet a part of me feels compelled to do so. I may not see them as much of a family, but they have done nothing to deserve death. My princess. Swear it. Very well. I swear I shall not allow Sir Alcaster to kill any of the royal family. Oh, OBS disconnected again. Let me give it a minute to reconnect. I don't know why this keeps happening. My internet connection is like landline, so it should be pretty solid, but whatever. We'll just wait for it to come back up. I could use a drink anyways. The clock tower chimes, the bell echoes in the chamber, and the sound is dull and eerie. Sir Mithras' eyes flash as he gestures his hand wildly. Now, princess, now! Alright, jeez. The air in the room becomes cold, so cold I actually feel my body becoming like ice. Something is wrong. This does not feel right. I try to move away, but my attempts are thwarted by some kind of magical force. The dark crystal is pulling me towards it. Sir Mithras! It's too late to turn back now, princess. No! The pull is strong. I'm drawn to it like a magnet. The invisible force renders me a puppet. It takes hold of my body and forces me to raise my hands to the crystal. I press my palms against the face of the dark crystal, my hands framing my mother's face. Her expression is gentle in her unnatural sleep. The dark crystal is freezing beneath my fingertips at first, but it steadily begins to warm as the clock continues counting down to 12. The warmer the dark crystal grows, the colder my body feels. It feels like it's sapping all of my energy, like the dark crystal is feeding off of me. The pain starts slowly. It creeps up and out until it's flooding my entire body. I attempt to twist my body away from the dark crystal's surface, but my hands are stuck. I turn to Sir Mithras for help, but there's nothing but crazed glee in his smile. Yes, yes! His eyes are focused on the crystallized form of my mother. I become dimly aware of the tears that are beginning to fall from my eyes. I cannot go on like this. My vision starts to blur until I feel myself falling into endless darkness. Ooh, this is getting serious. Another flashback. Mother? Yes, my sweet? What are you doing? I am planning, dearest one. Mother has to be ready for when she takes over Angiel. Ooh, okay. But doesn't Father rule Angiel? Oh, sweet, Father will soon be too tired to rule. Mother will rule for him, and when you are grown, you shall follow in my footsteps. I will make Angiel a kingdom to behold, my darling. You will never be hurt, and no one shall deny you anything. The people will bend to your whim and will behave as they ought to. There'll be no more bad people? No, dearest one, there will be no bad people in our kingdom. I will make sure of that. Ooh. Mother's got some ambitions. Chapter 7, Perspective. Interesting. Opening my eyes and moving my body is a struggle. I feel sluggish and numb, and there's a suffocating heat in my chest that makes it difficult to breathe. When I finally do rise, my thoughts are tangled and confused. Where am I? She lives. Oh, hey, Varg's not wearing his mask today. Gasp! I turn my head just in time to see Varg rise from a chair just to the side of my bed. Has he been sitting there watching me? And he's not wearing his mask. What are you doing here? You've been out for a week, princess. A week? I think I would know how long you've been playing Sleeping Beauty. After all, I've been here the whole damn... Varg quickly clears his throat before gazing down at me, an exasperated expression on his face. Do you even remember what happened? Not really. Memories suddenly flood through my mind. They are fragments, but together they create a startling picture. Sir Mithras in a room, 12 chimes of the clock, my 18th birthday, the dark crystal, and... Mother! I sit up immediately, only to succumb to a wave of nausea and dizziness. Much to my surprise, Varg reaches out to steady me, his grip firm, but gentle. Slow down, princess. You're not ready to fight me yet. What time is it? Almost dawn. Will he become Fritz again in a few hours? Or have I lost Fritz forever? Would you believe me if I told you Fritz doesn't want to see you? Ouch! The awareness of my last conversation with Fritz hits me full force. After what happened the last time we spoke, I'm not surprised that Fritz does not want to see me. He was too ashamed to face you. I had no idea Fritz would react the way he did to your words. I have most of his stronger memories, not all of them, but most. I thought he'd have most of mine too, but I guess that's not the case. What memories do you have? That's none of your business. The expression on his face is clouded. For a few moments he is silent, thoughtful. In the beginning they were mostly of you. What? Varg glances away. I notice his fingers drum uneasily on his cane and stare. I've never seen Varg look like this. I carefully slide my way over to the bed, allowing my feet to dangle to the floor. Fritz cares for you, Princess. Take my word for it, if no one else's. Why is he suddenly telling me all this? Will I ever see him again? Or has he lost to you? Varg flinches back from me, taking a few steps back to put some distance between the two of us. I can't say. I watch Varg closely. I never noticed before, but Varg's emotions are very clear if you know what to look for. Ooh, got another choice. We're gonna press him. I want to know more about the situation. You cannot say or won't say. Princess. The gentleness with which he says my title makes me think of Fritz. However, just as I am beginning to hear Fritz's voice through him, his demeanor changes once again. The vulnerable man disappears and is replaced by the usual facade. Varg straightens and glares at me. He displays this confidence to hide his true emotions. It seems like he wears two masks. You're more like Fritz than you would care to admit. Alright, there's our good girl points. Hell yeah. Fritz would never harm me. Varg snarls, but he no longer intimidates me. Fritz this, Fritz that. All you ever talk about is that idiot, even though I have been the one by your side this entire time. Fritz is nothing compared to me. Oh, are you jealous? Are you jelly? Is Fritz's love for us so, like, wholesome that it even affects you? That would be interesting. Then why do you feel threatened by him? Le gasp! My words render Varg speechless. I dimly notice the patterns of red dawn scattering across my room. The sun is almost up. I look back to Varg, my eyes seeking Fritz. Varg moves, his eyes fierce as he closes the distance between us. Ooh. Kiss! Le gasp! Varg presses his lips to mine, effectively stifling the rest of the word. I have only a moment to gasp out for breath before Varg kisses me again, more deeply. I raise my hands to push him away for a brief second as my mind hazes over in shock. Varg takes advantage of my confusion and moves forward again, an unreadable expression on his eyes as he leans over me. I try to pull away, but Varg tangles his hand in my hair, tilting my head back to press his lips firmly against mine once more. This is not right. I tremble as his free arm sweeps down my back and eventually comes to rest at my waist. Why is he kissing me? He doesn't even like me. Anger clears my mind. I ball my hands into a fist and shove it at Varg's chest. His eyes are bright and out of focus when I'm able to look into them. His chest betrays his labored breathing. I wipe the back of my hand against my mouth as I glare at Varg. I do not trust myself to speak without screaming at him. Coherence slowly starts to filter back into his gaze. I can see the awareness in his gaze, along with guilt. I suddenly realize that my cheeks are now wet with tears. Why am I crying? Varg takes a step towards me, and though he does not utter a single word, I can see from his body language that he means to apologize. He reaches a hand out as if to touch my face. No! I move back and close my eyes. Au revoir. Evillan? I open my eyes when I hear the familiar voice and watch as Fritz quickly rushes to my side and kneels in front of me. His hands cut my face as his thumbs brush against my cheeks, wiping away the tears that I cannot stop. What did he do, Princess? Fritz! I feel suddenly overwhelmed, like there's too much whirling in my mind. I'm not sure how long we sit there together. It feels short, like a single moment, but it could have been an eternity. I'm sorry, Princess. I shake my head in an attempt to clear my fractured thoughts. Fritz frowns, but his expression clears as he brushes my hair away from my face. His fingertips gently trace my cheek as he speaks. I failed as your knight. I should have never left you alone that night. I could have stopped all of this from happening. All I have done is cause you pain. And this past week has been hell. I didn't know if you'd wake up or if I'd be able to be with you when you did. He looks at me, his expression grim. and I wasn't there when you did. Varg was. Oh, are you getting a little bit of context? That's interesting. It's got a little bit of a memory. You finally know about him? Fritz nods as he gives me a pained smile. No apology could ever be enough excuse to what I did to you. I doubted you that night because I thought what you were saying was impossible. I wondered how I could be cursed without even knowing about it. Oops. That's loud. Sorry about that. That was a loud phone call. Anyways. I wonder how I could be cursed without knowing it. But now, I hate myself for treating you the way I did. Probably turn my phone off. Hold on. There we go. Turn it on vibrate. That way that doesn't happen again. I must have put you through so much suffering because I did not believe you. I know I have never been worthy of you, but now I have betrayed the trust you had in me. He drops his hands and pulls away from me. I don't think I have the right to be called your knight. I reach out and grab his hand without thinking. Don't say that. Fritz looks at me in shock. His wide-eyed gaze only makes me feel embarrassed, and I have to focus to keep from floundering. After a long moment, Fritz manages to smile at me. It is small, but genuine. I don't deserve your kindness. Kindness? Is that what this is? We sit together for silence and some time, enjoying each other's calming presence. My room is quiet as the sun steadily starts to rise. Do you know what has happened during the last week? I'm afraid not. I wasn't myself for most of it. He is fading even faster now, and just when I feel I've truly started to know him. I've already told you about the disappearance of the prince and the princess, but it seems like the queen has gone missing as well. Ophelia is missing? I can only hope they made it out alive and that Rod led them back to the market. There they will be safe. I did not think I would ever trust anyone there, and I still don't, but Parfait said that the market is an evil place. Is a place evil cannot overtake. And whether or not Varg is truly evil, his mission is to kill them. I can at least be sure Parfait will protect them. King Gennaro is still here, but he is different. He is not himself. And what happened? It's your mother. Oh. The day you fainted, the same morning, your mother returned. I can only stare at Fritz in shock, knowing that what happened that night wasn't just a dream. Everyone in the castle is acting as if nothing is wrong. It's just like the last 4 years haven't happened. But the instant I saw her, I recognized her. And after that, well, I don't remember what came next. My next conscious moment was today when I saw you. Fritz raises his hand as if to touch my face, but he abruptly pulls it away. He flinches and doubles over, his face contorting with pain. No, not now. I won't let you. His eyes are cloudy, his gaze turned inward. He's speaking to the other side of himself that I cannot see. I reach out to him and try to call him back. Fritz! He looks up at me and attempts a sad smile. He's trying to make it seem like he's fine. When he speaks, it is through gritted teeth. I'll never let him hurt you. Can you trust me about that at least? Yes. Evillan. Oh. The shadows dance around him, almost tauntingly at first. Then they simply engulf him and Fritz disappears into darkness. I take a step back. I hate to interrupt. You again. I snarl at him, but Varg merely shrugs. He looks indifferent, as if what transpired between us before never happened. I have things to do today. Varg turns and walks briskly out of my room without glancing back. Ooh. I make my way through the halls of the palace, determined to find Sir Mithros. Over the past few months, I've been all but invisible to the people in the palace. It allowed me to pass undisturbed. I had always figured it was because no one remembered who I was with my curse. But today, things are different. A maid sweeping the hallways jumps at the sight of me before quickly curtsying. Your Highness! Her eyes are downcast, and she does not look up at me as I pass by her. As I walked past her, 2 other servants heading in my direction also moved to the side of the hallway. Your Highness? Your Highness. They remember who I am now? But how? Has my curse somehow been broken? I spend the entire morning searching for Sir Mithros, but he is nowhere to be found. The only room I have yet to search is the throne room. I push open the doors and walk inside. There, I am met with an unexpected sight. The king sits on his throne, his posture regal, but his eyes downcast. Your Majesty? He does not look up when I enter, but I can see that his eyes are stony, unmoving. I approach him cautiously, and upon further look, I notice how his eyes look so empty. It's almost as if he cannot see me. I inhale, and something catches in my throat. My heart begins to beat rapidly. What have they done to you? My princess? I whirl around and see Sir Mithros approaching me with a smile. Where did he come from? I could have sworn there was no one else here when I entered. Sir Mithros? I was just on my way to see you. Vark just told me you had awakened. What is wrong with the king? Physically, there's nothing wrong with him at all. Anger begins to burn within me. You swore that you wouldn't harm him. Is he not alive, my princess? Oh, that's a twisted way to do that. Take a good look at him. The king is completely unharmed. The change in Sir Mithros' expression is subtle, but I can feel the malice in his gaze. I should add that it was difficult to keep this promise, princess. My queen will be having words with you about this. Mother? Where is she? She's left the palace for the time being. You've been unconscious for a week. My queen cannot spend every moment fretting by your bedside. But didn't Varg say he was the only one to stay by my side? I shake the thought from my mind. When will I be seeing her? At dinner, I assume. Now, if that's all... Wait. Sir Mithros pauses abruptly to look at me. The servants I met in the hallway seem to remember me. How? You really cannot guess. He sighs as he runs a hand through his hair. When you turned 18 and become the Dark Crystal Bearer, the curse that the Lesser Witch cast on you broke. What? Moments before your mother awoke, you were the strongest witch in all of Angiel. A Lesser Witch's spell could not have any effect over you. Congratulations, princess. You are no longer a victim of the curse. Your life is back to the way it was before. Now, is there anything else you would like to ask me? Yes, there is. About Fritz. Oh. What are we gonna do? Let's see. We just found out that we can break curses. These is like 2 different questions, but they're asking the same thing, which is apparently common in this route. How do I break his curse or remove his curse? I think we're gonna ask how to break it. I don't think asking him to remove it is gonna get us anywhere. Much to my astonishment, Sir Mithros begins to laugh. The sound is cruel and so sharp and deadly it cuts through whatever hope had been forming in my heart. You wish to break his curse? Oh, princess, you should have told me earlier you cared so much about the boy. Perhaps then I would have tailored his curse to your requirements. There we go. Good girl points. Nice. Poor, upstanding, chivalrous Fritz. In many ways, he was too much of a knight for his father's liking. Sir Mithros leans closer to me, so close I can see the crazed gleam in his eyes. Would you like to know why I cursed him, princess? I remain rooted in place, but not flinching away from Mithros is harder than I would have thought. Sir Alcaster approached his son for help, expecting him to help kill the king and take over the throne, but Fritz refused. Sir Alcaster needed an obedient servant, and Fritz deserved to be punished for stepping out of line. No. And so I removed those memories of Alcaster telling Fritz of his devious plans and gave him the curse. Fritz has the Little Red Riding Hood curse. That's what I thought. I thought it was Little Red Riding Hood. There is, after all, no better servant than the big bad wolf. Interesting. He has all the power and drive of a predator, but is still so obedient. Wolves are closely related to dogs, after all. And better yet, the big bad wolf will always stay close to the lady he desires to devour. Oh, okay. I can feel disgust seething in my stomach. I've created the perfect servant for Alcaster. In short, Sir Mithros suddenly reaches out a hand to grab at my face by the chin. He forces my head up at a painful angle. Ugh. There's no point breaking his curse, Princess, not unless Fritz is somehow able to mentally overpower Varg. And we all know how formidable Varg is. Sir Mithras releases me. Now put the idea out of your pretty little head. Don't you already have everything you've ever wanted? He smiles wryly before turning and walking out of the throne room, leaving me alone and trembling. To break the curse, Fritz has to overpower Varg in his own mind? A sudden cold descends upon me. I wrap my arms around myself and shudder. I turn to look at the king, but he's not moved since my encounter with Sir Mithras. Your Majesty, did I do this to you? Mother. If she were here, she can make sense of it for me. Mother, where are you? I stare at my now trembling hands. This is not what I wanted at all. Princess, we cannot... I am the crown princess. Which is why we cannot allow you to leave on your own, Your Highness. It is strange to think that just a few months ago, these same men did everything they could to keep me out of the palace. Your Highness, you'll need an escort if you want to leave. I can take care of myself. Back to being a nuisance, I see. Sir, they know who he is? I watched in stunned silence as both soldiers salute to Varg. Varg turns to smirk at me. Well, what's going on here? The princess wishes to leave the palace to visit the town. Does she now? I can feel Varg's eyes on me, but I refuse to look at him. Fine, I will accompany her. But the queen said... The words die in the man's throat as Varg turns to glower at him. His eyes flash with impatience, and it is enough to coax the soldier into silence. Open the gates. Yes, sir. The gates swing open. I rush out, thinking that maybe if I move fast enough I can lose Varg. So, what are we here for? Though I tried my hardest to shake him, Varg is still irritatingly close. It is impossible to leave him. Princess? Varg leans out and wraps his fingers around my elbow, pulling me to a stop in the shadows of an alleyway. My irritation is immediate, and I look up to glare at him. What are we doing in town? As much as I don't want to agree with those idiot knights, you really shouldn't be wandering the streets. My next words are cold and sharp. Why not? Before, that was what everyone insisted I do. And now the only thing everyone wants is for me to stay indoors. Varg is silent for a few moments before finally letting out an exasperated sigh. Angela is not what it was, Princess. What are you talking about? Varg places his hands on my shoulders and turns me so that I'm looking out onto the streets. I'm not overly familiar with the kingdom, but even I can tell that something is off. The shops that once had colorful display windows are now empty. Their displays are dull or non-existent. The liveliness of the market stalls is all but gone. My gaze is drawn to the bakery shop that Fritz had taken me to all those months ago. Its dim windows tell me that it is closed. There's so many different sweets here. Buy whatever you like. Are you certain? Absolutely. I know nothing makes you happier than a good pastry. How do you know that? Well, it's a knight's job to know these sorts of things. Just how much do you know about me? Nothing that anyone else wouldn't know. What's my favorite color? Blue. My favorite flower? Lilies. I told you that these croissants are famous, right? Those are my favorite. I'll get a croissant then. Not a custard Danish? I thought you liked those best. A croissant, of course, right away. An all too familiar ache beats within my chest. Has it been that long since that day? Everything was so vibrant and full of energy back then. This place was so lively, and there was music that filled the streets and performances everywhere. But now, so much has changed. It's so silent. The streets are so empty, and the eyes of the people, their eyes are glazed and unseeing, just like the king's. I step forward to have a better look without realizing. I'm only dimly aware of Varg's hands, which had not moved from my shoulders. What happened? The queen happened. But the people... She can take control and demand obedience, but she can't force love or loyalty. The people of Angela are being crushed, Princess, and they know who's responsible for it. Varg's voice is hushed, but he still draws stares. I flinch back at the expressions on the people's faces as they look at us. There's fear in their eyes. I instinctively retreat until I fall back into Varg. His hands tighten on my shoulders. They know that you're her daughter. These are the looks they have always given me. This is why they have feared me. Abruptly, Varg draws his cape around me, enclosing me in darkness. Ooh, did we get teleported? When light finally filters back into my consciousness, I'm faced with a completely different street. What did you do? Smoke and mirrors. Things might have gotten out of hand back there, so I got us out. He suddenly releases me and nudges me forward. Can we return to the palace now? I grit my teeth. I still want to see the town. It is impossible to think the entire place is so changed. How is that possible? Sir Mithras said Mother was out. I really need to see her. It's almost dinner time, Princess. Your family will be expecting you. Mother will be expecting me. I should see her at dinner, right? Thinking about everything that has transpired exhausts me. I rub my eyes and sigh. Fine, let us return. When I enter the dining hall, a familiar figure stands by one of the windows. I have not seen her for 4 years, but she remains unchanged. Standing before me is the only person whose love I never doubted. Mother! My dearest one. Ooh, she's kinda hot. Hello. I move towards her immediately like a moth drawn to flame. Soon I have my arms wrapped around her in a hug. I do not care that I am crying. Mother, I have missed you so much. And I have missed you. I cannot believe that Mother is indeed alive. I'm crying so hard, tears blur my eyes, and it takes effort to speak. I thought you died. Mother presses a soft, cool hand to my cheek. Her touch is more comforting than I remember. And it is thanks to you that I did not. I'm so proud of you, love. I had thought her warmth would envelop me longer, but Mother is quick to draw away from me. I look up at her in confusion and flinch when I see her gaze is cold. But I heard you left the palace today. Ugh. What have I told you about leaving the palace, Evillan? No excuses. You know my feelings on this. But have you truly become so disrespectful while I was absent? Let's not fight, not tonight. Yes, Mother. Come sit. I take my usual chair and stare at the now vacant seats in front of me. There is a heaviness in my chest as I remember who sat in them. Those are Ophelia, Rod, and Emmeline's places. And the king. I turn to look at him and feel my heart falter, then sink. Evillan? The king is sitting in his usual seat, but his expression is as vacant as it was earlier. It's nothing. Mother follows my line of sight and frowns. Ah, Mithras told me of your request. I had not anticipated that you would acquire something from him in exchange for reviving me. But no matter, I had no desire to see Alcaster's plans come to fruition. Where is Sir Alcaster? My mother beckons quietly with a wave of her hand, and servants begin to place platters of food on the table. Exiled. There's no place in this kingdom for a snake like him. Then why is Varg still here? Mother looks at me with knowing eyes as the servant spoons soup into our bowls. You still need a guard, my dear. It was fortuitous of me to retain him, considering your actions today. I look down, my mind racing. But enough of these inconsequential notions. We must discuss your training. What? You are the current princess, and you must learn how to be a queen. Eventually, you too shall become the Dark Crystal Bearer. I will show you how to control it. It is impossible for me to think of Mother as a witch, but seeing how she speaks so casually of the Dark Crystal, and considering all that has happened this week, I have no choice but to believe it. Why did you not tell me about the Dark Crystal, about the witches? Dearest one, you were so young. I wanted to protect you. And it is no matter now, for I am here. Oops, wrong button. I will teach you through practical demonstration. I have always found that to be the most effective way. She looks at me sharply. We will begin by punishing those that cursed you. Oh no, Delora. Fear and shock immediately fled through me. What? Punish Parfait and Delora? They have acted to keep you from me and from your destiny. They must be punished. Don't you wish for revenge on those that have wronged you so? I think the only thing we can do in this situation is stay quiet, because she's not gonna like us if we protest. So let's just be quiet and listen to what her monologue is and what she has to say, so we can find out our plans. If we protest now, she's gonna know that we're against her. They must be punished. Mother sighs and puts down her spoon. Must I remind you of how people will seek to use you? How they will abuse your trust and your position in order to take from you? What other reason could those people have had for cursing you? Regardless, we shall start your lessons tomorrow. For some reason, my eyes are drawn once more to the king. He has not moved since dinner began. His soup is still untouched. The king is barely conscious. Mother is right here, so close to me, and yet nothing feels right. You will succeed me in all things, my daughter. Mother speaks and my attention snaps back to her. I expect nothing but your full devotion to this task. I mechanically bring a spoon of soup to my mouth and swallow without tasting. Could I really punish anyone? Oh, dearest one. Mother's voice pulls me from my thoughts. She reaches over and brushes my hair away from my face. Her touch is heartbreakingly familiar. She's right here, but I feel like this is the most distant I've ever been from her. We're never going to be separated again. Ew. This almost feels like a bad end. There we go. Chapter 8, Uprising. There needs to be an uprising. Hilda is not good. Evillan, I cannot do this. You are not trying hard enough. But it's almost as if you do not wish to complete your training. Ever since Mother came back, she's been teaching me to use my magic, but her methods are, well, I cannot bring myself to agree with the way she teaches. But this is a little bird, no more. That bird is still alive. It's been trying to escape the dome it's been trapped in under this whole time. Your bleeding heart will be the end of us all, Evillan. Do you feel such turmoil every time you have a meal? Do I need to remind you how many animals were killed on a daily basis just for your meals? But this is different. Why can't Mother see that? All you are doing is removing the air in the dome. This is a lesson about control. How else are we to tell when you are successful without such a barometer? Mother raises her hand and without any apparent effort manipulates the air in the dome. Now, you see how simple it is? I stare at the bird's lifeless body inside the dome. The sight of it brings back old memories. This happened before, and even then I was not able to save the bird's life. I still cannot save anything. And because you hesitated, another bird must be brought in. How many birds will it take, Evillan? I need you to focus, dearest heart. We will continue tomorrow, and I expect you to perform as expected. Do you understand? Oh, goodness. Hilda's not a good person. Evillan. I nod my head numbly. Mother opens her arms and beckons me towards her. I reluctantly step towards her so that she can embrace me. There is no more warmth in her embrace. There is nothing. Mother strokes my hair. Before, I found the gesture endearing and comforting, but now I feel cold. I do this because I love you, Evillan. You understand, yes? The words I want to say are trapped in my throat. I can't. Mother pulls back, a questioning look in her eyes. Say you love me, darling. Of course I love you. I do love her, but things are different now. I cannot deny who she is or what she can do. Mother sighs heavily before releasing me and turning me around. Varg. The door opens and Varg steps inside immediately. He kneels before us. Your Majesty, take my daughter back to her room. As you command. Varg rises and bows before going to open the door for me. Princess? Good night, Mother. I curtsy and follow Varg out of the throne room. Ever since Fritz disappeared the day I woke up, he has not returned. I had the hope that he would return and that Varg would be destroyed is slowly disappearing. Every morning I wake and find Varg standing outside my door. I become more disheartened. Okay, I think we need to go back. I think we have to protest. Yeah, let's load. Let's protest. Oh, did we get good girl points? Wasn't there another choice? I don't remember. Oh, this isn't. I don't think this is the choice that I wanted to get to. We had a. Didn't we get good girl points for staying silent? Or did we need to protest? I don't wholly remember. Let's just protest, see what happens. I do not want revenge. Mother sets down her spoon. Dearest one, need I remind you of how the people of this world will seek to abuse your nature and your position in order to use you? Have you not experienced the selfishness and greed of people firsthand? Were you not cursed by such people? You're right. But there we go. There's our go-go points. That's what I was looking for. But Delora and Parfait, they have been kind to me as well. Mother goes back to eating. Regardless, we shall start your lessons tomorrow. Let's skip forward. There we go. I look at Varg's back as he walks in front of me. How am I supposed to bring Fritz back? Varg is only getting stronger each day. At this rate, Fritz will... Adova. You know that will not work on me anymore, princess. Fritz used to come when I said that word, but he no longer sees any signs that he hears me. Worried about your night? Let me tell you something that might lift your spirits then. He's not gone. What? He doesn't think he can afford to lose. He's not giving up control without a fight. Thought you might want to know. Why are you telling me this? You haven't been yourself the past few days. But why do you care? 'Cause he loves us. 'Cause he loves us. Varg stops and turns to look at me. He's looking at me the same way Fritz always does, with gentle acceptance. I can almost believe I'm looking at Fritz and not Varg. I've been asking myself the same question. I know these feelings for you aren't my own, and yet, feelings for me? I guess his emotions for you were too strong. It's rubbed off on me, and now I'm stuck caring about you too. Varg's expression changes, a subtle sadness creeping into his eyes. Stupid. We both know who you'll choose when the time comes. Oh, that's a thought. That's like an interesting thing to think about, because like she doesn't love Varg, she loves Fritz, and Varg seems to be getting more jealous with more emotions that he's being like pressed into with Fritz's love for us. So the more Fritz loves us, the more Varg ends up loving us too. And it's sad to think that we're going to choose Fritz over Varg, because Varg cares for us, even though he's got a funny way of showing it. This is interesting. I like this storyline. It kind of annoys me about how removed from the Marchen we've been, but our curse is broken, I guess. So, I don't know. This is the first time we made it all the way past our 18th birthday. What? Varg smiles, but it is devoid of any cheer. He turns around and continues walking without waiting for me. Hurry up, princess. The rest of our walk is silent. The night is deep, dark, and gentle, but I cannot find peace or sleep in the all-consuming silence. It has been 2 weeks since Mother's return, and 2 weeks since I've been able to sleep through the night. Most of my days are spent at Mother's side. When we aren't patrolling Angiel, she is teaching me how to use the Dark Crystal, readying me as her successor. Every day it becomes clearer to me that the kingdom is suffering. The people fear and hate us. It is even worse than it was before. Mother is cruel to everyone, even though I have yet to see them do anything wrong. Is this why Father hated her? Ugh. Your Highness, I beg your forgiveness. This child was not watching where he was going. The man's son had wandered out in front of us. The soldiers' horses would have crushed the child if the man hadn't pushed him out of the way. The stop on the road had caused a delay in our arrival back to the palace. Mother had been out visiting an old friend, a witch. Mother? There's a blinding flash of light as Mother draws a shape in the air. When the light clears, the man has disappeared from in front of us. He has collapsed against the wall of a nearby building. Mother threw him into the building? Let us continue. But Mother, that man isn't moving. I do not think he's breathing. Come along, Evillan. Mother, why did you do that? The man, Are you questioning me, Evillan? Mother's gaze is as cold as steel. Her eyes are sharp as a blade. I flinch away from her. You have become soft. The world has changed you while I was sleeping. Do not worry, dearest heart. I will bring you back to what you were. I promise. Ooh. That's a scary thought. Mother smiled at me then, the same smile she would always give me when I was a child. I used to be comforted by the sight of it, but now it terrifies me. And the king. I choked down the lump in my throat. He's gone. He speaks, he eats, but he's not here. If it were not clear in his actions, it is clear when I look into his eyes. He is right there, and yet I miss him. The frustration makes me restless. I stand up so that I can make my way towards the window and stare outside. I am being ridiculous. Why should I miss him when he has been nothing but neglectful? I've forgotten how he stopped caring about me when he invited his new family into the palace. He treasured them and his kingdom more than he ever loved me. He never valued me. And yet I would do anything to go back to how things had been. The weight on my shoulders and in my heart is overwhelming. The feeling only worsens when I turn my thoughts to another person. Fritz. With a sigh, I lean my forehead against the cold glass of the window. Varg said that Fritz is still fighting, so he must still be in there. How can I help him? Fritz? Who? Before I can turn, someone clamps a hand over my mouth. The rest of my words are muffled. Uh-oh, getting kidnapped again. Long time no see. Delora? That voice. Jurian? Oh, it's Jurian. That's right. Remain calm, princess. She slowly lowers her hand. I turn around and stare, surprised to see her here in my room. What are you doing here? She smiles and some of the weight in my heart lifts. We're on a rescue mission. We? Hey, it's Garland. At that moment, a man sidesteps into the doorway, his footsteps cautious and soft. Garland? He's not turned completely, but cranes his neck to give me a soft smile. Glad to see you're safe, princess. I can barely believe that the two of them are standing here. It has been so long. We apologize for being late. We've been trying to get into the palace for the last few months, but a powerful shield has been keeping us from entering. Lady Parfait could easily destroy it, but it would have meant destroying the palace as well. The last thing we want is to cause panic among the people. Mithras and Varg are crafty. They've been watching over the palace like hawks. And it was difficult to speak with Prince Rod when he was being watched around the clock. We needed more time to make sure our rescue mission would not fail. Then how did you find a way inside? Lady Parfait managed to find a weak spot in the shield, but it's thin and only allows a few people into the palace at one time. Garland and I know this place better than anyone. That's why we're here to rescue you. Delora and Lady Parfait wanted to come, but the shield easily detects witches and fairies. But they're waiting for us at the march end, princess. Was I meant to escape with Rod and Emmeline before? Oops, wrong button. Yes, that was the only other plan we had, though it didn't go as expected when someone caught whiff of our plans and sent Varg to kill them. So they tried to save me before and failed. What choice are we gonna make here? I think we're gonna ask, why did you come for me? Because we've been so mean to everybody at the march end. So why would they even bother to rescue us now? They look at me, their expressions baffled. What? I cross my arms as I look at them. Why would you rescue someone you hate? Princess. Of course we'd come for you. You're part of the merchant after all. Hey, good girl points. Nice. What? Jurian looks at me seriously. Let's go. Jurian heads towards the door but stops when she notices that I am not following her. Coming, princess? How can the merchant take me back after everything I have said and done? How could the merchant accept me back? Do they even want me to return? I only realized I had spoken aloud when Jurian answers me. Princess, we wouldn't be here if that wasn't the case. Ooh, okay. We have to leave now. We're running out of time. I can think about this later. I nod and follow them out of my room. Hilda's not going to accept this. Or Varg, for that matter. Varg is probably going to catch us. Jurian leads the way and I follow after her. Garland brings up the rear, his eyes alert as he constantly surveys our surroundings. The night around us is cold and still, but the quiet only makes me more anxious. Varg usually appears in situations like this. Is he not here? And I feel so useless having to be rescued like this. Garland reaches out to place a hand on my shoulder. We're almost out. I nod, not trusting my own voice. Shh. Garland stands at attention as we continue slowly moving forward. Eventually, a figure moves to block our path. And what is this? Ooh, who's that? I cannot move. Durian and Garland, however, already have their swords out. The deadly metal glitters in the gray glow of the moon. Oh, it's Mithros. And here I thought the fairy had given up. Mithros. Her voice is a low growl. It's so full of malice it makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. Let us pass. And if I did, where would you be taking the princess? Durian's shoulders tense. Garland glares at Mithros from behind her. I could lie, but it would also be easier to just kill you. You're as bloodthirsty as ever. But unfortunately, I cannot allow your mischief to continue. Sir Mithras has just begun to raise his hand when Durian darts forward, her sword gleaming as she raises it to slice at his arm. Sir Mithras howls, falling hard to the ground as he curls in on himself to cradle his injury. Go, quickly! The remaining quiet is all but shattered as we run away from Mithras. Though he is in pain, I can hear his voice call out from behind us. Do not think this will be so easy, princess. I ignore him and keep running, not daring to look back. We've been running for a while now. My legs are beginning to go numb. You need more exercise, girl. Only a little longer, princess, and we'll be out. You're doing well. I can do no more than nod as I force myself to keep running. I'm pathetic. I'm slowing them down so much. There, I can see the exit. Watch out! Durian falls back to evade the explosion and bumps into me in the process. Moments later, however, she is once again standing at the ready with her sword. Garland sets his hands firmly on my shoulders to help me regain my balance. What was that? A familiar face emerges from the smoke, her expression cold. Uh-oh. Mother? There she is. Evillan. Mother. I didn't want to believe Mithras, but here you are. Princess, get back. Mother turns to face Durian and Garland, her expression full of contempt. I remember you, Durian Valiente. And you as well, Garland Belrod. I thought I was rid of Elcaster's pests. We do not work for Sir Elcaster. No, you and your pet have changed allegiances, haven't you? What? What did you call him? The smile on Mother's face is bright and cruel. It sends chills traveling down my spine. Is that not what he is? Mother casually waves a hand at Garland, who remains quiet. He follows you around like a lost puppy. He is so desperate for a scrap of affection that he would do anything for you, regardless of his own pride. It is admirable how well he knows his commands. Stop it. Come, Garland. Sit, Garland. Good boy, Garland. Shut up! Durian, don't! But his words come too late. Durian rushes forward, her body nothing but a blur, her teeth bared in savage hatred. But Durian is fast, but Mother is faster. She raises her hand and sends Durian back with a terrible flash of light as Garland catches her. And you defend his honor as if he were some poor maiden. How pathetic. Garland's voice is soft as he studies Durian. Durian, please, she's just trying to get a rise out of you. I know that. Durian throws his hands off, a murderous look in her eyes as she glares at Mother. Mother remains in the same place, smiling that terrible smile of hers. She is amused by this, nothing more. Get the princess out of here, Garland. What are you saying? I'm not leaving you here. Once she's safe, come back for me. That's not gonna work. Durian finally turns to look at him, a soft smile on her face. Trust me, Lan. There's a long moment of silence as the two gaze at each other. Unspoken words pass between them, and eventually Garland caves. All right. Both of them tighten their grips on their swords. Are you done? Mother hasn't moved, but her presence in the small tunnel is overwhelming. Her magic smothers the very air. Durian sinks into a stance, her body loose and poised, seemingly unperturbed. Ready when you are. Mother does not attack. Instead, she turns to face me with one graceful movement. Evillan, stop this nonsense. This is not the time for games. Be a good girl and go back to your room. Ooh. We're gonna stand our ground. There is something wrong with her. Stand our ground. Dearest one? I stand resolute and take strength from Garland's steady presence behind me. What Mother is doing is wrong. What she wants isn't right and has never been right. What she's done to the king, what she's done to Angiel, how am I meant to look at her the same way? My voice is quiet when I finally speak. No. What? I take a deep breath and look at her in the eyes. No, I will not return to my room. Mother's expression is unexpectedly calm as she looks at me. My own daughter would choose these traitors and liars over me. Is my love so inconsequential to you? Has she ever truly loved me? Ooh, there's our good girl points. Standing up for ourselves. Mother, if your love is what love is meant to be, I do not want it. Mother is not who I thought she was. When I look at her now, all I can see is what she truly is. Evil. Clearly you have been corrupted during my absence. I suppose it must be the work of the infernal fairies. Never mind. Once I have destroyed each and every one of them, you will return to me, my daughter. She raises her hand and light curls around her fingers, but before she can cast, Durian is at my mother's side. Ha! Durian's sword glints as it slices through the air and then through mother's clothes. Go! Princess, come on. But Durian, if we leave her alone, yeah, she's definitely gonna kill her. Garland pulls me away from my mother and Durian as their battle begins. I hear the dull clatter of metal as we run and can see the flashes of light even as we escape back the way we came. Garland. We have not gotten far when I forced Garland to stop. Garland! It's only when I grab his shoulder that he stops and turns to look at me. Princess? We cannot leave her there. Maybe I can convince Mother to let her go. You really think you can convince that witch? I could try. My job is to keep you safe. Mother has all the power of the dark crystal at her disposal. I force myself to say it. Durian will not last long. Garland, you have to know this too. Durian must know as well. Garland's jaw hardens and he stares at me, not truly looking at me, but through me. Garland, please. We cannot let Durian die. Not when we might be able to do something about it. Garland stares at the ground, his expression conflicted. I know he cares for her, and that is why he must go back for her. Garland closes his eyes briefly. When he opens them, I know he has made his decision. We're going back for her? Yeah, let's get it. When we return to the scene is very different. Blood spatters the tunnel walls, and Durian is on her knees, bent forward, her face away from us. My mother is nowhere to be seen. Durian! Garland is suddenly in front of me, mindlessly racing towards Durian. Durian! Durian! All at once she seems to come alive. She gasps out for breath and coughs. Garland, what are you doing here? I told you to... Her voice wavers as Garland crouches down in front of her. He folds himself around her and pulls her gently to his chest. His eyes are shut tight as he buries his face in her hair. Durian chokes back a sob as she reaches up to hold him tightly. I exhale in relief. Both of them are alive and safe. You idiot, I told you to get her out. The princess gave me permission to disobey an order. He lifts his head to smile back at me. She outranks you, Durian, at least as far as titles are concerned. Garland slowly guides her to her feet. What happened? The queen disappeared and Durian suddenly stops. We hear it at the same time, a terrible ripping sound like the air itself is being torn. I see the slither of shadows and unnatural light in the darkness, and then I suddenly realize what is happening. My panicking mind is only able to process everything that happens in slow motion. Uh-oh. Mother appears behind Durian, poised to strike. I see the horror in Garland's eyes, then acceptance and determination. I try to cry out a warning, anything, but I can barely breathe. Garland pushes Durian towards me and out of the way as he rushes my mother. Oof. I don't want either of them to die. At the same time Garland pushes forward and Mother holds at her hand. It all takes a single heartbeat for her to plunge it into Garland's chest. Garland! What a loyal pet, giving your life for hers. Garland's face crumples in on itself. Even from where I am, I can hear Mother twist her hand inside him. And how sad. Mother wrenches her bloodied hand out and Garland falls to the ground. You fool, you didn't even tell her that you loved her. You! Durian runs at my mother, a desperate cry of grief and rage escaping from her. Durian, no! She is too weak from her own injuries. She can barely hold up her sword. I'm unable to speak or move as Durian rushes towards her own death. Oh no. But Mother simply sidesteps, her expression disinterested as Durian falls to her knees. I was kind enough to kill him slowly for you so you could say your goodbyes. Mother turns to face me. The blood drips from her hand down to her dress where it congeals and oozes like black tar. Do you understand now, dearest one? This is what you have made me do. This is what I must do now to all those who have corrupted you. You were the one who forced my hand. Do not forget that. For a moment, the air in the tunnel disappears and a terrible silence fills the darkness. By the time the air comes rushing back into my starved lungs, Mother is gone. The tunnel is empty. Lights flicker in the aftermath of her disappearance. The only thing I can hear, apart from the rushing of blood in my ears, is Durian's sobs. Garland! Garland, no! I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, goodness. I make my way slowly towards her. It is like wading slowly through murky water. Durian is leaning over Garland and his head is in her lap. He's still breathing. Parfait! Parfait can help him. When I crouch down, I can see the open wound Mother left behind. I swallow down the bile and rise in my throat along with any of my words of comfort. Magic cannot fix this. Garland, please. I get down on my knees beside Durian. This is my fault. Don't cry. Aw. Garland! He smiles at her. It is a genuine smile that breaks my heart. Durian shakes her head. No, Garland, you can't. Durian, I love... His voice trails off as he closes his eyes. His breathing becoming more labored. He gasps one last time before his body stills completely. Garland? Garland! I bite down on my tongue and bow my head as Julian howls her loss into the silence of the blood-soaked tunnel. We spend some time with Garland in the tunnel. Durian shakes with silent sobs as she grips his still body. But eventually, Durian gently removes Garland from her lap as she stands up. She takes her sword as she presses her hand to his face one last time. Then she turns and walks away from Garland's body with his sword clutched tightly in one hand. She grips her sword in the other. It takes all that I have to keep up with her. Durian... Silence. Durian, this is all my... Not now. Her voice is quiet and all the more disturbing for it. This is all my fault. Evillan, Durian! Walt? What is he doing here? Oh, he's still a little kid. Walt comes running up to us, his eyebrows creased with worry. I've been waiting for so long, I was about to... He pauses, his eyes flickering to the swords in Durian's hands. Why do you have Garland's sword? Walt's face pales. Where is he? Gone. What? Garland is gone. Her hands tighten on the sword she holds. For a few moments her shoulders slouch, but then she turns away abruptly and continues walking. Let's go. Waltz turns to me. They said it was going to be a simple in and out, so I let them go alone. What happened in there? What do I say? Oh, goodness. We've been saying it's our fault. We did... It was either let Durian die or let Garland die. There was no, like, real choice in between the matter. So we tried to, like, fix things by going back, but it just ended up making things worse. It was my fault. Princess, I'm sure that's not true. I glare at Waltz as tears well in my eyes. It was my fault. Waltz falls silent as he studies my face. Then he sighs before taking my hand. We'll sort this out at the march-in. Come on. We didn't get any good girl points just then. Maybe we have to reload. Let's see. Let's stay silent. Princess? Silence. Waltz falls silent as he studies my face. Then he says before taking my hand, we'll sort this out at the march-in. Come on. Nope. Okay, so I still think that what I chose was the best choice. Let's load. It was my fault. We'll skip. There we go. As soon as the march-in doors close behind us, Durian collapses. Durian! Luckily, I'm close enough to catch one of her arms, and Waltz is fast enough to catch the other. Move her to the chair. Together, we manage to guide Durian to the chair. We set her down on it as gently as we can. I watch as she unfolds on the chair, and that is when I see the dark red slashes and tears in her clothing. Some of her wounds are open and visibly bleeding. She's still bleeding. Waltz pulls a cloth from his back pocket and hands it to me. Clean what you can. I'll get Lady Parfait and Rumple. He runs off, leaving me alone with Durian. It looks like she's bleeding everywhere. I steel myself and kneel by her side. Gently, I reach out and begin to wipe at the worst of what I can see. Jurian moans and I flinch in sympathy. I am sorry. I feel a lump rise in my throat. I convinced Garland to go back. If I hadn't, he wouldn't have. Jurian shifts slightly to put her hand on my cheek. Her touch is cool and gentle. Jurian? There is a softness in her gaze and an inexplicable kindness in the touch of her hand. After a moment, Jurian slowly nods and her eyes fall closed in a sigh. Wait, is she okay? Jurian? Jurian! Waltz! She just closed her eyes and she's not speaking. She's not going to die too, is she? Not if I have anything to say about it. Excuse me, princess. Rumpel gently pushes me aside and I let him, hovering over his shoulder as he crouches to inspect Jurian. Well? Princess. Walt steps beside me and gently places his hand on my arm. What? Rumpel needs to work his magic now. And? So? Why don't we get you something to drink, I'm not going to leave her. Princess, please. We should let Rumpel work. I look back over my shoulder and watching how carefully Rumpel attends to Jurian. Okay. Waltz's hand acts as my lifeline as he helps me into the tavern area. My legs become weaker with every step. Hi, stranger. Delora. I only realize that I'm running to her after I barrel into her. I bury my face in her shoulder as I suppress a sob. Delora's arms come around me, holding me tight as whatever calm facade I was holding up comes apart at the seams. Waltz, would you please get those mugs? Of course. Delora leads me to one of the benches, one of her arms still around me so she can rub my back. However, the simple gesture is helping me calm down. Evillan, are you hurt? I shake my head. Thank goodness for that. I stay in her embrace until Waltz returns to the place something on the table. How are we doing? I turn away reluctantly to rub up my eyes. I'm okay. Delora takes the mug and places it in my hand. Good, now drink. I do not question and raise the mug to my mouth. Hot chocolate. Delora made this for me before. I take a few deep swallows of the hot, sweet liquid. Better? Yes. Evillan, can you tell me what happened? Oh, so much has happened, Delora. Mother found us in the tunnels. Jurian told Garland to get me out. My throat threatens to close, but I force the words out. Mother is so strong, I thought Jurian might not survive. So I convinced Garland to go back, and that's when I stared down at my mug, my hands trembling. It's my fault. It's all my fault. If I hadn't convinced Garland to go back, Mother wouldn't have killed him. The silence in the tavern is deafening. Finish your hot chocolate, Evillan. I obey without a word. Everyone is going to be so angry with me. It's my fault Garland is dead, and it's my fault Jurian is injured. Have you heard about your stepfamily? I know they're gone. Are they dead as well as because of me? Hey, don't look like that. I'll have you know that I had to use a sleeping spell on Prince Rod and Princess Emmeline earlier. They heard about what Jurian and Garland were going to do tonight. I don't think I would have been able to stop them from coming along on the rescue mission otherwise. What? Why would they come rescue us? You got them out, Princess. Varg would have killed them if you hadn't stepped in. The Queen was already waiting at the end of the tunnel on the day the Prince and Princess escaped. Alcaster must have somehow gotten wind of the escape plan, which is why he and Varg tried to eliminate them then and there. Security tightened more after that day. Oh, thank goodness. And we've been worrying about you ever since you left. Well, since you stormed out all those months ago. Delora's smile is sad as she reaches up to push my hair out of my face. None of this was your fault, Evillan. If anything, it was mine and Parfait's for letting this happen. We tried to help you escape, but we couldn't break the shield around the palace in fear of putting everyone inside in danger. That's why we had to wait. We never thought we'd have to worry about Hildur being revived. And though we would have liked to save you outside of the palace... That's right, I was out of the palace more than a couple times, once with Varg and another with Mother. We couldn't put the lives of others in danger when Hildur was right there. She would have killed the citizens. Even if I wanted to escape the day I was with Varg, he wouldn't have let me. I grip my now empty mug. Princess, I understand how you feel, and I know it's difficult, but frankly, we have bigger fish to fry. I think you realize now what kind of person Hildur is. I do. Then you know what we have to do. I know too well what it is we must do. In fact, I knew this was bound to happen sooner or later. I started this. I do not know if I can fix everything, and I do not know if I can save Angielle. But no matter how long it might take, I must make things right. I finally look up at Delora and nod. We have to stop Mother. Ooh. Another chapter? Oh, there we go. Chapter 9, Rebellion. I hope this is the last chapter. Because of the severity of Jurgen's wounds, Rumpel decided he would bring her to the nearest clinic so she would be better cared for. Anise decided to go with him, and surprisingly, Ophelia and her children all opted to go as well. Now the only ones left here at the tavern are me, Delora, Waltz, and Karma. They may not say it, but I'm sure they're blaming me for what is happening to Angielle right now. I need to make things right. I close my eyes as a sudden bout of dizziness comes over me. Mother has always been the person that mattered most to me. I never questioned or disobeyed her because she was so important. She was my light in days that were often so dark. But I have no choice. If Mother isn't stopped, who knows how many more lives will be lost. The only way to stop Mother is to kill her, isn't it? I'm sorry, but this really is the only way. Yes, I know. But I do not think I could kill her myself. Delora has a knowing look in her eyes as she turns to address Waltz. We'll leave as soon as Parfait comes back from her meeting with the fairies. If you can fully use your magic, then we may actually stand a chance. Magic? What are you talking about? Waltz is just a street magician. What help could he be? Don't underestimate our magician. Waltz is a witch and a lot stronger than he looks. Waltz is a witch? There's another final piece of information that we're getting a little too late. Yeah, Waltz is a witch. You know I have the Neverland curse. Yes. I do not know that fairy tale, but what does that have to do with anything? Your mother was the witch that cursed me. What? But Waltz, if you're also a witch, how can you be cursed? Your mother is the Dark Crystal Bearer, which means she has the power to punish all witches if she chooses. As to why he was cursed, Waltz's expression darkens. Hildur needed to be stopped. I knew I couldn't defeat her alone, so I enlisted the help of the fairies. I betrayed her, and she punished me before she died. Waltz almost single-handedly brought about the end to the Great War. He's the reason we've been enjoying this peace for as long as we have. I never knew. Of course, you can only imagine how displeased Hildur was with Waltz. Hildur stole my shadow and sealed it away in Neverland. Oh, okay. So now we're getting some context about his curse, too. That's interesting. Hildur stole my shadow and sealed it away in Neverland. Your shadow? We really need to work on your fairy tale knowledge one of these days, princess. Peter Pan is a boy that lives in Neverland, which is a place where children never grow up. Waltz's curse means he's been frozen in a child's body since Hildur cursed him all those years ago. He can't grow up and he can't use any magic. Well, I can still do some spells, but only some simple, harmless ones. For Waltz to get his magic back, he needs to find Tinkerbell, which is the key to Neverland. We need to unlock his shadow. Interesting. That's a fun premise. But all this time you've never found Tinkerbell in Neverland? I've looked everywhere I can think of. I'm sure she cast a spell on it to make it more difficult to locate. Even in the palace? Dolores snorts and suddenly I feel embarrassed. Oh, of course not. Why would Waltz look in the palace first? I mean, especially considering Hildur is the queen and has numerous secret chambers for things she wants to keep hidden. Looking through the entirety of the palace for a small box might be difficult. Neverland is a box that was left to me by my parents. It's made of gold with carvings that resemble a pair of wings. What? Waltz jumps at my sudden reaction. That's the box that we were fidgeting with all those months ago. Princess? That box. I had forgotten about it, but I can vaguely remember an old box in my room that matches that description. Mother left me a trinket box and a key that matched that description. She told me to never touch the box or let anyone see it. I've had it for years. All this time, Tinkerland and Neverland were with you? Tinkerbell and Neverland? I never knew what was inside. I was too afraid to disobey Mother's orders. The thought of her giving me that box never even crossed my mind, but now thinking back on it, it makes sense. I want to ask him what he means, but we're running out of time. I will have to ask him about it at a later time. I can get Neverland and Tinkerbell for you. I can return your magic. With Waltz back to his true form, we may have a fighting chance at this. So what do we do first? We? There's no we in this, Evillan, only us. But I just said I could help. It's too dangerous, Princess. But I'm the only one who knows where to find the box. Then you will tell us where it is and we'll retrieve it. It's as simple as that. I scowl at her with my arms crossed. I refuse to stay here and be useless while everyone else puts themselves at risk of saving Andriel. Andriel is this way because I brought back Mother. I must take responsibility. And I will not let anyone else die at Mother's hands. Evillan. Mother is less likely to harm me. I have a better chance of getting Neverland and Tinkerbell without causing a disturbance. How can you say that after what's already happened? You're not safe either, Evillan. No sooner has she said that words than a terrible blast echoes through the margin. Uh-oh. I cough as smoke envelops the tavern. A silhouette emerges in front of us and I feel my blood run cold when I realize who it is. Varg. Varg! Just when I thought I was safe, Varg reappears. Oops. I always forget how powerful this thing can get. Where previously there had been a wall made of stone, sturdy and strong, there is now a sizable hole. Remnants of brick and stone collapse inward in the aftermath. The dust rises to settle around Varg's feet, where he stands casually twirling his cane. Hope I'm not disturbing anything, but all the doors were locked. Karma! Karma? Delora and I glance at the wall behind us, where Waltz is looking. Karma is standing there, injured. His forehead has a large gash, and one of his arms is limp and useless. He still manages to tightly grip the hilt of his sword with his other hand. Where did Karma come from? I would have appreciated you destroying less property when you knocked on the tavern door. And I would have appreciated it if you'd gotten out of my way when I asked politely, so I wouldn't have to resort to explosions. Seems both of us are disappointed. What do you want, Varg? Don't we already know the answer to that question? Come on. Varg turns to look at me expectantly. I thought the stolen goods would be brought here. What did you just call me? Karma lets out a harsh laugh. Has no one told you that women do not like being imprisoned against their will? Has no one told you people that it's not good to steal? Oh. I'm not an item to be stolen or imprisoned. I ball my hands into fists. I cannot let Varg hurt anyone here. I have no idea if this will work. If Fritz is truly fighting, then he must be able to hear my voice. Fritz. Varg growls, his eyes bright and angry as he glares at me. You need to give up on him, Princess. Never. Fritz, I know you're still there. No matter what you say, nothing will change. Fritz is gone. Adova. He won't. Varg chokes on his words and doubles over. You are being very annoying. Did it work? Out of the corner of my eye, I notice Karma preparing an attack while Varg is momentarily weakened. But something does not feel right. Karma, stop! What? Get the princess away from here. What's happening? That voice. Fritz! Despite the fact that it is Varg standing before me, it is most certainly Fritz looking at me through those eyes. Please. I don't know how long I can hold him here. You all need to get out of here while you still can. You need to keep the princess safe. Keep her away from the palace. Waltz, get her out of here, now. No! I dodge Waltz's reaching hands as I attempt to run towards Fritz. Keep her safe, please. Now! No, don't hurt him! Karma runs forward, his sword raised just as Waltz grabs my hand and pulls me out of the way. No! Time slows as I watch Varg slowly come back to coherence. His lips curl into a snarl as he begins to bring his cane down to the floor. Delora throws her hand out, the collected light racing towards Varg. Varg stumbles back, his cane never hitting the floor. Varg growls as he glares up at Delora. Witches are so inconvenient. Unfortunately, Delora is not the only inconvenience in this room. Varg raises his cane to block Karma's next swing. Shh! Waltz grips my hand and tugs. We have to go, Princess. I glance back at Karma and Delora. There must be something I can do. Ooh. Okay, we're gonna follow Waltz, because I don't think that there's anything we can do in this situation. I don't think we can help them. So we're gonna listen to what Fritz said to keep her away from the palace. So let's follow Waltz. But I can barely protect myself. Perhaps I would just get in their way. I do not resist as Waltz pulls me out of the Marchen. Even as we set foot outside the Marchen, I turn back. I cannot just leave them there. This is wrong. I can't just leave Delora and Karma there, not when I can do something. I dig my heels in the ground, bringing Waltz to an abrupt stop. We have to go back. That didn't solve anything last time we did that. Remember when we had to go back for Jurian and then Garland got killed? I don't think there's anything we can do. Princess, we can't. Karma's hurt. We just need to get Varg's cane, then we can stop him. We can't put you in harm's way again. You need to get away from here. I rip my hand away from his grasp and I reach out to the Marchen door. I can distract Varg and create an opening. No, I will distract Varg. Waltz does not give me any chance to protest as he throws open the Marchen door. But we have to do this quick. Not so fast. Over here, you dog. The force sends me down to the ground and the smoke in the air is me gasping for air. What just happened? Karma is once more collapsed on the floor. I see Waltz struggling towards him with the debris from the blast. Through the debris from the blast. Delora has dropped to one knee. Her face is pale and blood trickles from the side of her mouth. The only one still standing is Varg. How does Varg have such power? I really hate that damn stick. Varg looks at me and raises an eyebrow. So are you going to be a good little girl and come along quietly? Or am I going to have to convince you by killing them? He twirls his cane, a smirk on his face. If I use this again, I might end up destroying this building. No more death. I cannot let that happen. I'm not a patient man, Princess. So it has come to this. I don't have a choice. Delora is looking at me desperately as I rise, but I ignore her piercing gaze. Don't be stupid, Evillan. You'll leave everyone here alone. Varg nods, amusement flickering in his eyes. As my princess commands. Princess, don't! I'm so sorry. But just as I start to move towards Varg, a bright light shines out from behind me. The shield of light pushes forward and past me, shoving Varg back and out through the hole he'd made in the wall. I turn, barely able to believe what I see. Parfait! She comes to stand in front of me. Listen closely, we don't have much time. Parfait's eyes flicker to Varg, who is shifting ever so slightly in the rubble. Even I can tell he's only temporarily out of commission. Tomorrow midnight, meet us at the palace gates. Bring Neverland and Tinkerbell with you. But you... Do you understand? I falter as I imagine what Parfait could possibly be planning, but I have no time and I can read nothing in her gaze. There is nothing else for me to do but nod in understanding. Yes, I understand. Parfait smiles as she caresses my cheek with a gentle hand. I have faith in you, Princess. We all do. You'll be fine. Parfait! Parfait grabs me by the shoulders and forcefully pushes me towards Varg. Ugh! He catches me, his hands firmly gripping my shoulders as I'm careened into him. Keep her safe, Fritz. Varg flinches. He is inhaling and getting ready to speak when the air around us suddenly thins and we are swallowed by light. When I'm able to breathe again, I open my eyes and see that I'm back at the palace. Did Parfait transport us? I become aware that Vargas still has his hand on my shoulders and I wrench free of his grip. Strange that your friends would actually send you back here with me. Okay, I think we're gonna go back and decide to help. I think that will help them. My eyes drift towards Varg's cane. That cane is the source of his magic. If I can get it away from him, then Delora and Karma will stand a chance. With renewed determination, I run towards Varg. Princess! I barrel past Karma and hit Varg square in the gut with my shoulder, forcing him backwards to the ground. I manage to twist the cane away from him and clutch it as Varg rises and begins to advance towards me. No time for games. Give it back. No. You really are nothing without your cane, aren't you? For a moment, there's only silence as Varg freezes. I cannot read the expression on his face. What is he thinking? Varg breaks the silence when he bursts out laughing. It's a sound that heralds certain chaos. That cane is not my only weapon. I watch as Varg slips a dagger out from his sleeve. And what are you going to do with that little thing? Poke me? Who said anything about you? Oh, he's being a butt. He's being an asshole. Varg, you piece of shit. With a smirk, Varg brings the dagger to his neck. This dagger is more than enough to do some damage to the princess's favorite knight. No! Now that is definitely cheating. This is ridiculous. You share a body, you'll end up hurting yourself as well. Varg shrugs, and I cannot tell if he's really unconcerned or pretending to be. I'll do whatever it takes. Varg smiles at me. In this light, his teeth appear to be gleaming and sharp, like he has fangs. Now give me back my cane and do precisely as I tell you, or the boy dies. I stand still. I cannot look away from Varg's gaze, which is bright with triumph. If Fritz dies, you die as well. Are you not afraid of death? I was never really alive to begin with. I'm just a bit of Fritz's mind given independence. This body isn't mine, so I can destroy it and not feel a thing. It will be Fritz that suffers. Princess, don't listen to him. You know it's a trap. I know Waltz is telling the truth. I can see it in the look on Varg's face. I grip the cane tighter to me. Varg is lying to me. He will definitely suffer, but he's also serious about hurting Fritz, and I cannot let that happen. There's our good girl points. Now do as you're told, little princess. Don't be stupid, Evillan. You'll leave everyone here alone. Okay. So we've already seen this part. Skip forward to when we're back at the palace. We have to find Tinkerbell and Neverland. Seems like they need you to retrieve something from the palace. Varg reaches out and snatches his cane from my hands. I'm not letting you leave the palace again, princess. The palace is eerily silent, and it's as if none of the chaos that just transpired ever happened, like it was all a dream. I ignore Varg and walk back through the gates to suffocate the seething turmoil inside of me. Just try and stop me. We're so stubborn. I slam my bedroom door behind me and lock it. It's only been a few hours since I was here. Since Jurian and Garland, I close my eyes and will the memories away. Now is not the time. I must keep my promise to Parfait. I begin to search through my drawers. I could have sworn that this was the last place I saw Neverland and Tinkerbell. There it is. There's the key. Nice. Tinkerbell, an elaborate golden key, is exactly where I remember leaving it. I place it carefully underneath my lamp so as to keep it hidden from sight. But where's Neverland? I nearly turn my room upside down looking for it, but I never find the golden box. It should be here. Why isn't it here? My body is heavy after all that happened today, and soon I find myself collapsed on my bed. It will be fine. I have until midnight tomorrow to find it. I'll continue looking in the morning. Ooh. We're getting close to the end. We're gonna keep playing through till the end. My sleep is broken and disjointed, so when dawn comes filtering through my windows, I'm already half awake. I pull myself out of bed and rub my eyes. I need to find Neverland. I retrieve Tinkerbell from where I'd hidden it and slip the key into my pocket. Then, with renewed determination, I continue my search. Why isn't it here? It had been right next to Tinkerbell. I feel I would remember if I'd moved it. But did I drop Neverland months ago, didn't I? I've been meaning to get it fixed, but I always forgot. But it's not here. That means someone must have taken it. But who? Mother? Would Mother or Mithras have taken it? Where should I look? Ooh. Let's look in the throne room. I don't feel like it's gonna be in the dining hall. I feel like it's gonna be in the throne room. Thankfully, when I get to the throne room, it's empty. But where do I even begin to look? Out of the corner of my eye, I notice something sparkle from the throne. I rush towards the throne and I'm unable to believe my dumb luck. There it is, the box. The box is definitely there, sitting right in front of me. I found it, but why is it just sitting here? Something feels off. If it isn't my disobedient daughter... Ugh. I reach out and snatch Neverland to hold it to my chest. I have to keep Neverland and Tinkerbell safe, no matter what. I'm glad to see one of my servants is still capable. Still, I wonder why Varg did not report his success in retrieving you. Varg did not tell her? I shall have a word with that cur. Mother walks towards me. I was not amused when you left the palace, Evillan, but I thought that sooner or later fate would send you here to retrieve something. You are a very good girl for keeping that box safe as I told you to. But I see it was a mistake to leave it here while I was attending to Mithras' reports. I clutch Neverland tighter. This box does not belong to you. Mother's voice is ice cold when she speaks. Oh? You hurt me so much last night. I hope you're not planning on leaving me again. I know you're hurting too, dearest one. I know you want to stay here with me. Mother sighs, and suddenly I can see the mother from my memories, the one that had held me close and sung to me to sleep at night. If fate hadn't interfered, you would be so much happier. Fate? Once upon a time, she was a dear friend. We were like sisters until she betrayed me. She was no doubt going by a different name to hide her true nature from you. But you know that she is pulling you from your birthright. You were happier when you could not remember, weren't you? What? Oh, my darling. Mother reaches for me and I cannot move as she sets a hand on my cheek. I've only ever wanted to protect you, Evillan. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I've only ever wanted the best for you. Mother gently runs a hand through my hair. I sacrificed so much so that my daughter could be a crowned princess. I did not want to erase your memories, but I knew how much it would hurt you if you knew my true nature. And I knew how sad you would be if you knew just how much your father did not love us, either of us. And all because of his ridiculous love for that wretched harlot and her whelps, the very same commoner he married after I was gone, the woman he sought to marry from the start. Ophelia? The king has loved Ophelia for so long? Isn't that unbelievable? He was still so loyal to her, even after he had me. I shouldn't have made good on my threat and just killed her, regardless of what Gennaro did as I demanded. Whether Gennaro did as I demanded. But he has always hated witches. That's why he's so cruel to you, why he's so cruel to both of us. Dearest one, we only have each other. So it was, and so it will be. I am the only one that will never hurt you, the only one you ever need to love and obey. Your longing for anyone else, your memories of anyone else, they are all unnecessary. Now be a good girl and listen to your mother. We're gonna refuse the shit out of that. I flinch away from Mother's reaching hand. Mother hurt the king. She hurt so many people. She killed Garland. No. What did you say to me? I cannot let her hurt anyone else. No. Yay, good girl points. Yeah. We stand up for ourselves. Fuck our mom. She's being a bitch. Mother's eyes glitter as the light begins to collect in her palms. You can use magic on us now. I can only bear your disobedience for so long, Evillan. It seems you require disciplining. Mother raises her hand, the light reflecting the cruelty in her gaze that I am now too familiar with. Knowing I could not run her, I turn my back and hold Neverland to my chest. I must protect Neverland. The air crackles and I brace myself for whatever Mother might unleash. I feel a hand on my back and then I'm pushed away. I fall down to the ground, hard. What was that? Oh, it's Delora! You... Did you miss me? Delora! How did you get in here? I had some help. Princess! Fritz? Fritz runs towards me and holds out his hand to help me up. Fritz? I thought I'd lost you. It was only for a second, but he pulls me close to him in a hug. I would never leave you. Fritz's arms tighten around me briefly before he releases me. We both turn to face Mother. You were going to hurt her, your own daughter. This is no concern of yours, and even if it was, what could you hope to achieve? You are so much weaker than the wolf, so much weaker than Varg. Fritz's body stiffens. Even now you only cling to a shred of control. Tell me, Sir Fitzgerald, how much longer until you are completely erased? Ooh. He was strong enough to resist Varg, so much that he was able to get me in here past your guards and your barriers. I think that makes Fritz plenty strong. I do not recall giving the traitor permission to speak. Do not think I've forgotten how you betrayed me, Delora. I haven't forgotten anything either, Hilder. Laura was only a child. Laura? Who's Laura? Her fate was entirely your doing. Don't tell me Delora had a daughter! Oh, I'm gonna be so sad. Who are you talking about? Laura was my daughter. Oh no! She had a daughter and Hilder killed her? Don't tell me that. That's so sad. Ugh, I've never heard Delora speak of a child. I'd always opposed Hilder's actions. I disagreed with her creation of the fairy tale curse from the beginning. But when I voiced my opinions out loud, she targeted my daughter. She killed her right in front of me. Oh shit. Suddenly, everything in the room is still. The two women glare at each other, but neither one of them moves. You were not there when our kind were being hunted and slaughtered like animals in their own homes. I am the Dark Crystal Bearer. I I felt each of their deaths like they were my own. Retribution was necessary, but you being so holy and so good, it took little Laura's death for you to understand the anguish of our brethren, to comprehend my anguish. I would not have killed her if you were not so blind. She was only 10, and she suffered for your weakness. Delora holds out her arm and sweeps it across the room, lightning traveling up her arm. Fritz tugs me around one of the columns, then presses my back into the coolness of the pillar. He holds himself against me, acting as a shield. Don't move. The ground shakes as Delora releases her spell. You think you can defeat me when you haven't even been training? How foolish. Please, I have no intention of defeating you. Fritz! Cover your ears, princess. Too confused to question him, I obey. I hear the sound of lightning cackling in the air, followed by an explosion. The column comes crashing down on the other side of the room. Time to go. Fritz's hand tightens around mine. We run out of the throne room with Delora as Mother's screech sounds through the room behind us. Are you okay? Yes, I'm alright. I'm just so glad you're here. Ugh. See, what did I tell you? What are you talking about? Your knight here was scared that you wouldn't want to see him anymore after what happened yesterday. Fritz's fingers tighten over my own. If only I was strong enough to fight Varg, I could have... It wasn't your fault, Fritz. But what matters is that you are here now. Fritz looks at me and smiles. How did you know where I would be? Intuition. And magic. Well, yes, and magic. Do you have Tinkerbell? I hold Neverland in one hand as I reach with my other to search for the key in my pocket. Thankfully, my fingers still brush against the cool metal. It's in my pocket. Good, very good. Whatever happens, you must get Neverland and Tinkerbell to the merchant, okay? I nod my head. That's a good girl. So that explains why Delora's always been so motherly towards us, because she lost her daughter. That's really sad. I don't like that. Parfait said to be here at midnight. What time is it? We're too early. Sometimes Parfait is early too. Looks like tonight is not one of those nights though. It looks like my coming early was both a blessing and a setback. She's using the name Parfait. How sweet. Tilda. Fritz steps in front of me as Mother reappears in front of us. Stay behind me. Fritz! I would never forgive myself if you got hurt. Please, stay behind me. Fritz smiles gently at me and my chest aches at the sight. Everything will be alright, I promise. I promise I'll protect you. I know you will. Fritz, Evillan must make it out at all costs. I do not like the sound of that. And you must understand why I cannot let you take my daughter away from me. Oh, you took mine. Delora's hands begin to glow. Perhaps this time Evillan shall watch you die, Delora. Oh no. No! Well, you can try and kill me, but your chances are slim. I have a very good knight with me, and I think he likes me more than he likes you. That can be remedied. Mother flicks her wrist. Delora holds out her own hand as if to prepare for the impact of the spell, but the magic never comes. Mother is not aiming for Delora. She's aiming for Fritz. With a gasp, Fritz drops his sword and falls to his knees. Fritz! Come along, Varg. I won't let you. That's when I realize that Mother is calling for Varg. Her hand twists in the air, manipulating Fritz's body to copy its movements. His body writhes and turns as he struggles to remain himself. Now. No, Fritz! Princess, I'm sorry, but I can't. Fritz looks at me one last time before the familiar darkness envelops his body. Fritz! Now, Varg, be a good dog and get Evillan back to her room. Oops. When Varg appears, he is standing absolutely still, his eyes surveying everything calmly. There is an intensity to them, but it is sharp and contained. I flinch back from Varg's bright eyes. No! Varg, you were going to hurt her. Pardon? I don't intend to obey someone who would hurt the princess. Ooh, yeah! Get it, Varg! Mother hisses in annoyance. I do not know how you inspire such loyalty, Evillan, but it is very inconvenient. Mother flicks her wrist and a responding light flares out from behind her. My queen. Great reinforcements. I order you to restrain your pet, Mithros. At once, my queen. Mithros extends his hand towards Varg, and the minute he does, Varg's body stiffens and he grits his teeth. I am always make sure to have control over any of my creations. This is not going as planned. You had a plan? Now, my darling. My hands shake and Neverland nearly tumbles from my hands as I struggle not to collapse. Since you have become so tainted by the thoughts that these people have put into your head, I shall have to start all over again. But don't be afraid. Cleansing your memories will not hurt. And when you wake, you will be my daughter again, my dearest one. Mother reaches out her hand towards me. Every fiber of my being screams at me to move, but my feet are heavy and I'm shaking so hard I cannot stand straight. I don't want to forget anything or anyone anymore. Here's the midnight bell. Behind me, the clock tower begins to chime. Not on my watch. Delora quickly runs in front of me and casts a protective shield. Delora, you can't. I will not let her erase any of your memories, Evillan. I brace myself for impact and feel the ground shudder as Mother's spell comes in contact with Delora's shield. A loud crack emanates from Delora's shield as it begins to crack. An offensive spell? You were going to kill your own daughter? Delora's words fade when she sees another spell coming towards us. I hear a slow laugh rise from Mother's throat. Goodbye, Delora. Evillan, run! Delora! Oh my god, Delora, no! I cough as clouds of smoke slowly fade away after the impact. My whole body feels as hollow as ice as I gaze at the sight before me. Delora's body lies on the floor in front of me. I'm moving. I collapse to the ground, my vision blurry as I stare numbly at Delora's limp figure. No, this cannot be! I reach out to touch her and sharply inhale when I feel how cold and clammy her skin is. No, Delora! Lots of people dying in this route. Shit. Hilda ain't fucking around. Always conjure another shield after being hit by a powerful spell. Have you forgotten your lessons, traitor? Now she can finally reunite with her daughter. Neverland tumbles from my grasp as I grab Delora's arm to shake her. No, Delora, please! She's still breathing. She can be saved. She cannot die like this. A bright light appears before me and suddenly Parfait is standing right in front of me. Hilda, what have you done? Fate, it's been a while. Parfait addresses me without looking back. Princess, do you have Neverland? Yes. I reach blindly for Neverland with one hand as I keep the other on Delora's arm. A warm hand settles on my shoulders. The touch is comforting and familiar. Have faith, Princess. I will not allow you to leave, fairy. Ooh, lots of magic being thrown around. Mithro casts his magic, but Parfait easily deflects it. She moves to cast a spell in retaliation, but doubles over as soon as the spell flares out from her. Ugh. You are fading, Fate. The light crystal itself is fading with you. My eyes lock with Varg's, and for a moment I can see Fritz through them. I see his lips move, but whatever words he speaks to me are mute. He shakes his head. Light suddenly begins to engulf me, and I see nothing apart from Delora's pale face on my lap. I do not move, even when the march and walls come into existence around me. The place is devoid of its usual warmth. Delora! She's not responding. I fight down the rising grief and try to remain calm as I turn to Parfait. Please, save her. Oh, save her! Parfait glances down at Delora, eyes glassy. It's as if she's hiding emotions behind a frigid mask. I feel that her mask is a reflection of my own. Any moment now it will be far away and I will be able to see her tears. Princess, the spell that Hilda used was a powerful one. There's nothing I can do. The air in the merchant seems to leave all at once. No, that's not true. You have to. Evillan. Oh, Delora! She does not move and her eyes are still closed as she speaks. Evillan, I'm sorry, but I can't stay. No, don't say that. I've been lucky. Hilda took my Laura, but I got you in return. I like to think that my daughter would have grown up to be someone like you. Delora, I believe in you, Evillan. I have always believed in you. You cannot leave, Delora. I won't let you leave. Though Delora's body does not move, I can feel the energy of her body slip through my fingers like sand. Her body slowly begins to fade away until only specks of glittering gold dust remain. A terrible pricking cold seeps into my heart and chest, and the frigidness envelops my whole body. I cannot breathe. It is only when a teary-eyed Parfait pulls me into a hug that I realize my throat is raw and that I've been screaming in grief. Aww. That's so sad. Oh no. I do not remember being tucked into bed. In the silence of the dark night, I can feel the absence of Delora like a hole in my chest. Sleepless hours tick by in a haze until the morning sun creeps through the window. Evillan, you didn't get any sleep, did you? I shake my head. I wish I could give you time to grieve. She died protecting me. I cover my face with my hands, and hot tears that I thought had dried began pouring from my eyes again. Both of them, Garland and Delora, died because of me. This is my fault. Oh yeah, this is not doing wonders for our mental health. If only I was strong enough, I could have... No, Princess. If it's anyone's fault, it's mine. Both Delora and Parfait keep owning up to this blame, but do either of them deserve any of it? Your mother and I were like sisters once. I couldn't bring myself to hurt her. But because of that, I didn't act in time to save her from the Dark Crystal's corruption. If you are seeking to blame anyone, blame me. I'm responsible for all this needless pain, all because I could not stop Hildur. I was too afraid, and now I'm too weak. But what could you have done? Mother is... I don't think anything can stop Mother. The light crystal and the dark crystal are inextricably linked to each other and to their bearers. The crystals cannot exist without each other. If one is destroyed, so is the other. What are you saying? We can stop Hildur if we destroy the light crystal. That would destroy the dark crystal as well. Parfait, that's insane! This world has suffered from magic for 3 centuries. Maybe it is more bad than good. Perhaps the only solution is to remove the source of it forever. Mother only survived because she was the Dark Crystal Bearer. She lives so long as the Dark Crystal exists. If the Dark Crystal is destroyed, Hildur should die. But you're suggesting we destroy the Dark Crystal through destroying the Light Crystal? Parfait smiles at me, but I find no comfort in it. I will only say it's my time. You cannot be serious. There has to be another way. There's already been so much suffering. There has been a lot of deaths this route. We're getting a lot of bad things happening. Delora and Garland did not die, so you would have to give up your life as well. I'm not saying we make a decision now. After what happened with Varg, I've strengthened the merchant's defenses and added a glamour. For now, we are safe here. Breakfast will be ready soon. Join us when you're able. The others will need to know about what happened last night. There must be another way to stop Mother. There has to be. If Parfait has to die so that our mother dies, I'm gonna be so sad. This will be the route that has like the most deaths in it. By the time I make it to the dining area, the food is cold. I'm not surprised by the state of the food, but seeing Waltz in a grown-up body is definitely shocking. Hey, it's Waltz! He's all grown up now! Oh, Princess. Waltz quickly makes his way over towards me and kneels down. He almost looks like a knight, though he's lacking the armor. Thank you for breaking my curse. At least I was able to do something good, but still. Princess? I do not notice the tears rolling down my cheeks until he calls my title softly. Ho, what's this? Waltz the Big has made the princess cry? Oof, no, it isn't Waltz. Delora believed I could accomplish 3 good deeds, and yet You like hot chocolate, right, darling? I'll get the mugs. Gently, Waltz leads me to a bench and sits next to me. Parfait hasn't told them what happened to Delora yet. All of them are smiling at me, trying to cheer me up, but how can I possibly smile now? I need to tell you all something. Hot chocolate first, talking later. You look pale, like you didn't sleep at all last night. And have you even eaten recently? Now that I think about it, no, I haven't. Rod, who I hadn't even realized was back in the merchant, stiffly stands up from his chair and walks away. He was here this whole time, just quietly listening in the corner. Did I say something wrong? Walt smiles at me as he pats my shoulder. We've sent Anise off to look after Jurian, so it's just us at the merchant. Rod's been taking care of meals, so he's probably going to get you something to eat. But why? Rod has never liked me. You saved his family from Varg, Princess. I doubt he minds cracking a few eggs for you. Rod comes back into the room and places utensils on a plate in front of me. It's filled with toast and scrambled eggs. I know it's not much, but you need to eat. I have no appetite, but he is right. I pick up my fork and stab a few eggs to try. This is good. Thank you. No problem. Suddenly, I'm incredibly aware of how famished I am. I shovel the rest of the food in my mouth eagerly. I'm eating the last remnants of my toast when Rumpel comes back into the room, holding far too many mugs for one person to manage. And now I present you with hot chocolate a la Rumpel. Waltz jumps up to save the several mugs from Rumpel's precarious hold. Ah, hot chocolate, how lovely. I knew this would happen, so I made plenty. Waltz and Rumpel place the mugs on the table. Rumpel counts all of them. 5, 6, wait. Where's Lady Delora? Oh no, my heart. Oh, I don't think I can stand it. This is so sad. Oh. The fork I'm holding clatters to the plate. It's the only sound in the suddenly quiet room. Oof. Delora passed away last night. What? The atmosphere shifts. Everyone is openly frowning, their eyes filled with regret. So the night ended up being a turncoat after all. Fritz had nothing to do with it. Fritz helped Delora to get me just when Mother was going to take Neverland. We would have made it all the way out alive if Mother hadn't used her magic to summon Varg. Mother was going to erase all my memories again, and I did not know what to do, so I just stood there. It's just like what happened with Garland, and now Delora is dead because of me. I cover my face with my hands as a too familiar grief bubbles up inside of me. Delora made a choice to protect you, Evillan, just like Garland made his choice to protect Jurian. The only thing we can do now is make sure their sacrifices weren't in vain. Here. I can't help but think that if we had picked up more magic tricks from our mom, that we could have used our magic to do something about any of this situation. But we're still untrained. Waltz gently pushes the mug towards me. If there's one thing Delora taught us, it's that hot chocolate makes almost everything better. I stare at the mug and remember the last time I had hot chocolate with Delora. I would have never thought the drink I shared with her so many days ago would be the last. I bite my lip to keep myself from crying. So what do we do now? The plan hasn't changed. We still need to stop Hildur and save the king. But how is the question? Waltz's voice is quiet. Lady Parfait. Does he know what Parfait plans to do? You know as well as I do there's only one way now, Waltz. Parfait quickly explains what she told me about destroying the light crystal to destroy the dark crystal. But if we do so by destroying the light crystal, you will die. I refuse to let that happen, Lady Parfait. Delora sacrificed her life to have Princess Evillan bring back Neverland, and now you're telling us that was useless and that there's no other way? If any of you have an alternative, please tell us. I don't want to lose any more of you over my mistake. But we cannot lose you either. I have a suggestion. What's their suggestion? Let me get this straight. Lady Parfait is going to act as bait to lure Hildur out of the palace into the gates, and the rest of us will help distract her long enough so that you can get to your father. Once the king is safely at the Marchen, Mother cannot use him as a bargaining chip anymore. After that, we will have nothing left to lose. We'll be able to go all out against Mother. The efforts we spared in bringing back Neverland will not go to waste. Waltz will use his magic to give us the upper hand. Though to be honest, I would still like to try and reason with her one last time. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Princess Hildur I cannot accept that your death is the only thing that will achieve our goal in stopping Mother. You told me before that Mother was a kind person. If I could somehow reach out to who she used to be, then perhaps it is possible that we could end this without any additional bloodshed. Everyone turns silent, their faces grim. Yeah, they're not as optimistic as you are about that, and neither am I. I know this is not the best and most concrete plan, but please let me try it. I want to hope that the person my mother used to be is still there. This is my fight as well. I need to do something. The least I can do is save my father and stop Mother without Parfait needing to sacrifice herself. It will be dangerous, but I beseech all of you, please help me. Oof. I want to believe that my old friend is still in there as well. Okay, let's do this. Ooh. Are we gonna get another chapter? Chapter 10, The Hunter. Okay. Man, there's so many chapters to this one. Are we gonna have to call it for today? I don't know. I don't know how many more chapters are left. It took a lot to convince everyone that I need to enter the palace alone. It is the people outside who are fighting Mother that need the greater strength. Bringing any one of them with me would have greatly diminished that strength. I must quickly find the king. Mother always made sure to leave the king in the throne room whenever she left, so it follows that she would leave him there now. It's too quiet in here. I push open the doors and stop in the doorway. The king is sitting on his throne with a vacant expression fixed to his face. He does not so much as flinch as I step inside. I tentatively make my way to the throne. Your Majesty? He does not speak. His eyes remain fixated in the same place as if he is looking through me. Is he gone forever? Andriel needs you. The king I know would never leave his kingdom to ruin. I'm standing close enough to him that I reach out and touch him if I wanted to. What do I have to do to save you? Oh, so now you're being nice to him. It's Varg. I twirl around and place myself in between the king and Varg. All those years you had the opportunity to reach out to him, but you never did. So I guess the king had to be missing his soul for you to care about him. What are you doing here, Varg? Someone had to keep an eye on the old man. The queen thought someone might try to take the old man while she was busy. I had a feeling it'd be you who'd return. You can't bear the thought of losing someone else, can you? What are you going to do then? I'm not leaving without the king. Varg is silent as he makes his way towards me. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to stop him, but I will not move. I cannot let him take the king, and I will not succumb to his threats. It is at that moment, just as he's about to reach me, that he suddenly drops to his knees and places a hand to his chest, his expression pained. I just need a little more time. What is happening to him? He manages to talk to me through gritted teeth. You shouldn't have come here alone, especially not with the big bad wolf here. It's my job to destroy you, you know. He flashes me a wicked grin, but the expression is shockingly short-lived. It is replaced by a soft smile. But this big bad wolf can't do that. You can't destroy a person you've fallen in love with. Is he admitting it? Is this it? Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. How are you in love with me? Varg looks at me, amused. How? Blame Fritz. This was never meant to happen, but I can't help feelings that were there from the get-go. The queen wasn't pleased with your knight, so she tried to erase him forever. But he hung on. He was pretty sure that if you could be strong, so could he. He looks up at me with such sadness, I actually feel guilt stir within me, but I'm not entirely sure why. I don't think Fritz could ever deserve you. Deserve me? But he's more worthy of you than I ever will be. Aw, that's so sad. I'm nothing more than a moth drawn to your fire. I can only ever be burned by you. Maybe Fritz will have better luck. Shadows begin to gather around Varg's feet and slowly start to swirl up the length of his body. Does that mean Fritz is coming back? I know that this is the only thing you would ever want from me. I just wanted to tell you how I felt, just that. Gods know that Fritz is incapable. That's funny. Oh, this is so sad. But he is capable of one thing. He's a good hunter. He defeated me fair and square to save Little Red, and now I have no choice but to step aside. So Fritz has overpowered Varg? Try to miss me, princess. Think about me every now and then. That would be enough. Varg, what are you? Goodbye, my princess. He smiles at me, his cocky grin faded into a gentle smile. The shadows cloak him fully, making him a little less than silhouette. Fritz? Fritz? Oh, like it. Shush, it's so dramatic. I keep myself firmly positioned in front of my father. The darkness eventually dissipates, and there, standing in the moonlight, is a familiar face. It's Fritz! I'm back. I look at him with bleary eyes. I'm sorry for taking so long, princess. I'm running before I even realize my feet are moving. I'm overwhelmed with so many emotions, none of which I can put a name to in this moment. I only know that I am happy, so happy Fritz is back. She kisses him! Ew! I throw my arms around his neck and kiss him. Fritz pulls his arm around my waist, pulling me closer. This is him. This is Fritz's heartbeat, his scent, his warmth. He came back to me. Thoughts whirl through my foggy head. I step away from him ever so slightly, suddenly aware of the heat in my cheeks. Wait, did I just kiss Fritz? I cannot bring myself to move away from his grasp, but I suddenly cannot bring myself to look up at him either. Why did I just... Fritz's gentle laugh brings me back to my senses. Though it is hard to parse the feelings inside of me, I can at least be certain that I love the smile he is giving me right now. This feels like a dream. It does. And not just because of what happened, but because Fritz is here, really here. Fritz leans forward to slowly brush a strand of hair away from my face. My heart pounds in my chest at the subtle touch. Once again, my mind is reeling with considerations. If the princess says it isn't a dream, then it must be real because I trust her with all my heart. I thought I'd lost you for good. I did not flinch away when Fritz pulls me closer so that I'm resting against his chest. But how did this happen? Did you overwhelm Varg? Varg erased himself. Ooh. How is that possible? He's always had that ability, but he's never had any reason to consider using it before. Then why now? Because he cared for you. My love for you is so strong it must have affected him too. You love me? Varg said the same thing and he blamed Fritz, so it's true? Fritz smiles and I feel warmth spreading inside me like sunlight. Always, Evillan. Oh, that's so cute. Oh my gosh, I can't handle it. It's just so cute. Well, this is quite the scandal. Oh, fuck you, Mithros. Don't come barging in on this moment. Ugh. Fritz moves to stand in front of me. My queen is not going to be pleased. If my curse was so weak that even Sir Fitzgerald could break it, I do not think even I am safe from her wrath. But I believe her disappointment in me will be second to the disappointment she feels for you. After all, you chose a lowly knight. How dare you? Princess. I stopped short at Fritz's tone. You have an important task, don't you? The king. But Mithros, trust me. Fritz releases my hand to pull out his sword, sinking easily into a ready stance. Oh, no. Don't you kill Fritz in this timeline. I'll be so pissed. I'll protect you. Oh, I hope you do. You think you could possibly prevail over me? Now when you have no cane, no power at all? Don't make me laugh. Fritz strikes, his slash quick and clean, taking Mithros by surprise. Fritz manages to cut his sword through his shoulder. Mithros hisses as he clutches his bleeding shoulder. The hatred is bright in his eyes. As Fritz rushes Mithros, I run towards the king. You think a mere swordsman can best one of the queen's apprentices? I'd be more wary if I were you, Sir Mithros. I approach the king, who has yet to move from his spot. What do I do? How can I possibly move him? I need to wake him up. But how? Your Majesty, I have been selfish. I was always so concerned with my own feelings and my own pain. I reach out a trembling hand and sat at atop one of his hands. Now I realize you were trying to help. It may have been lackluster, but you genuinely tried. I have been so unfair to you, just like Mother was. I do not know if words are enough to make up for what I have done, but I am sorry. I'm so sorry for being so cruel to you. Please, I need you. I stare hard into my father's eyes, but there is no movement, no recognition. I dip my head in mourning and bite my lip as I try to think of another way to save him. My thoughts subside and a flash of light permeates my vision. It is only for a moment, but when I look up, I can suddenly see life in my father's eyes. Evillan? Your Majesty! I reach out to hug him and he wraps his arms around me. I feel like I've been asleep for a long time. And then I heard your voice. It sounded as if you needed me. What has happened? He eyes the motion behind me and raises his eyebrows. He attempts to stand, but his knees shake and buckle. I duck underneath one of his arms to help him back onto the throne. The king stiffens as he glances back at the battle ensuing behind me. Sir Mithros and Sir Fitzgerald? What is going on here? The king has broken the enchantment? Impossible. I told you not to underestimate her. Your Majesty, we need to get you out of here. What is happening here? Uh-oh. Hilder's here. Mother suddenly materializes in the center of the room, standing right before Mithros and Fritz, who is the witch at a sword point against the front doors. But Mother is not alone. Mother has Parfait in a tight grip, but the moment I call her name, she releases her, and Parfait tumbles to the floor. Crimson stains her dress. Parfait, you're bleeding! Parfait does not move to acknowledge me. Fate would not let go, so I had to bring her with me. Not that it matters. What did you do to her? Where are the others? They were treated like cowards, persistent things. I would have killed them had Fate not sacrificed herself. I let out a sigh of relief. They're all okay and alive. You still care so much about those traitors. I cannot understand your attachment to them. Mother turns her attention away from me and to the two men who are at a standstill. Mithros, you disappoint me. Ooh. With a flick of her hand, Fritz is pulled away from Mithros and across the throne room towards me. I move to steady Fritz as he stumbles beside me. I'm sorry, my queen. I have given you too many chances to prove yourself worthy. You have failed me too many times, Myth. You are of no use to me anymore. Ooh, ouch. But my queen, I have done everything you wanted me to. Please, give me one more chance. I promise Silence. Mother's voice is as cold and sharp as ice. Leave before I erase you from my sight. Please, my queen. Uh-oh. Mother casts a spell at Mithros that is all too familiar. It's the same spell she used to kill Delora. Mithros does not even have a chance to defend himself as Mother's spell shocks his body. Such a pest. I don't even know why I kept that useless fool all these years. I slowly turn to look at Mithros. He's no longer standing but lays unmoving on the floor. I feel bile rising in my throat. I cannot believe Mother just did that to him. How could you take away that man's life so easily, Hildur? How can you be so heartless? It is the first time I've ever heard my father speak to Mother that way. Heartless? I am heartless. Humans shattered my heart many years ago when you hunted my kind. You did this to me. Out of the corner of my eye, I notice movement. In moments, Parfait moves to stand before us, blocking us from Mother. Even though her clothes are soaked in blood and she's clearly wounded, Parfait has never looked so regal before. You! Parfait's hands move before resting over her chest where light begins to gather in her hands. In the blink of an eye, a glittering golden crystal appears above her hands. Is that the light crystal? But the light crystal is emitting is uneven, and as I look closer, I can see that it is cracked. What are you doing? The only thing that can stop you. My heart plummets as I realize about what Parfait is going to do. Parfait, no! If Parfait hears me, she gives no indication. If you do this, you'll die, Fate. You'll die and remove all magic from Angiel forever. Nothing else will stop you, will it? Your hatred for the humans, the corruption from the dark crystal, runs too deep. I see it now. Magic was never meant to be used with malice, Hildur. So long as witches can be corrupted, magic will always pose a threat. I can't allow that to happen. I wanted to change things with Laura, but what gives you the right to decide what to do with the magic? I am the light crystal bearer. I have a responsibility to maintain balance, but I see now that there is no balance where the crystals exist. Light begins to gather, first around Parfait's feet and then around her body. It slowly begins to make its way towards Mother. In no time at all, the light swarms around their bodies. A white crystal suddenly appears in front of Mother, the dark crystal. I won't let you do this, Fate. It is too late for that. The golden light of the light crystal intensifies. I can hear the crystal shattering from the inside out. No! The dark crystal breaks soon after, its fragments slowly fading with the light. Mother and Parfait's images begin to do the same, despite Mother's struggle. Both they and the crystals slowly dissipate into the mist. No! I lunge forward, but Fritz's arms are suddenly around my waist, holding me still. Mother snarls as she attempts to escape Parfait, but the light around her creates a thick box she cannot escape from. You would die for the humans that have hunted my kind because of their fairy tales? No, I'm dying for you, Hildur. Oh shit. I'm dying for you, Hildur, so that for once I might save you from yourself. Mother chokes out a laugh. You're a fool, Fate. Perhaps I am, but at least I will die with hope in my heart. Mother turns to look at me in the blinding light. Parfait's concentration never wavers as she turns to settle her eyes on me as well. Mother's face is fading in the glow, but her voice is clear. I truly did love you, Evillan. I don't believe that. Everything I have done, everything I did out of love. Parfait smiles at me gently. It is a silent goodbye. There's a brief burst of light, and for a few moments I am blinded. When my vision returns, I see Fritz first. He's staring where Parfait and Mother had been only moments ago. On the floor where they stood moments ago, there is now only dust. That's so drastic. What a drastic ending. With the loss of the crystals, magic vanished from Angiel. All the fairy tale curses broke simultaneously, and all witches and fairies lost their power. As soon as it disappeared, I turned to an education centered around the knowledge of Angiel rather than magic. I had decided back then that I would do anything to help Angiel and its people, and I needed to start first by educating myself. I'd start to follow my father on his trips around the kingdom. I'd even started to accompany Evillan on all her trips outside the palace. Fritz has remained by my side for the past month. He comes with me every day I visit the graves. Carefully, so as not to disturb the flowers Jurian had left earlier, I leaned down to place my lilies by each gravestone. Garland, Delora, Parfait, and the last is always the hardest. With a deep breath, I walk up to the fourth gravestone. I stare at it for a long time before I finally set a lily down. Mother. Fritz and I stand there in silence as we grieve for the lives lost that day. I look up into the sky and smile as I stare at the warm rays of the sun. I shift my gaze at Fritz, who smiles at me. He has never left my side since that day. Fritz has always told me that he loves me, but I have yet to tell him my own feelings. Fritz? Yes? I didn't have the chance to ask this before, but how can you possibly love me? I've been so horrible, not just to you, but to everyone around me. Fritz's expression softens. He gently tilts my chin upwards so that I have to look at him as he speaks. For as long as I've known you, you've had to deal with more things no one should have to go through. You were forced to live in the Queen's shadow because others refused to see past your relationship to her. You've been alone for so long, and I could see how much you were hurting. But despite all that pain, you remained strong. You've always been strong. From the beginning, all I wanted was to be someone you could rely on, someone you could trust, someone who would always be there for you. I must have trusted him from the beginning too. Fritz was the only one I allowed to get close to me. I do not look away from him, but instead I stare back into his eyes with conviction. I know I may not have shown it, but I did trust you. I've always been able to tell. You wear your heart on your sleeve. I do not. Fritz laughs, and the slight cockiness of his smile reminds me a bit of someone else. Varg. It's been years since you became my responsibility. Once I learned your tells, you became an open book. He surprises me by putting his forehead to mine. The feeling of him so close is comforting. I love the way you're so careful with whatever you consider precious. I love how your eyes light up when you eat a good pastry. I love whenever you rely on me. I bite down on my lip as I blink back tears. No one has ever had that kind of faith in me. Before I knew it, you'd made a spot for yourself in my heart. And I began to hope that one day I could be as dear to you as you are to me. I stare up at Fritz, the tears pooling in my eyes. He wipes away a tear before it can roll down my cheek. I've never felt so cherished before. I do not step away when he leans forward to plant a kiss on my forehead. Aw, how cute. I hold out my hand and Fritz comes to my side. I feel the warmth of his fingers and smile. When things begin to overwhelm me, he never fails to calm me. I grip his hand more tightly. Evillan, I love you. You know that, right? I've known for a while, but it's nice to hear it all the same. Then I'll say it for as long as you want me to. For the rest of our lives, then? A princess and her knight, huh? Does that matter? No, it doesn't. Even if there was such a rule, I'd abolish it once I become queen. Fritz starts to laugh. As always, his laughter is full of so much joy it lifts my heart. I want to hear it for the rest of my life. And maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to. Oh, that's so sweet. Is that it? That's the ending? Oh my gosh, what a roller coaster, guys. I was so emotional. This whole like session it's just been one thing after another. There's so many people who died. Oh my gosh. And Fritz and Varg. I can't even handle it. I don't even know what to say. It's been so good. It's been so fantastic. This game is so fantastic for a free game. If you haven't gone out to play this game, please, please, please go get it on Steam right now. It is free. It has overwhelmingly positive reviews. It's a masterpiece. I cannot state how much I love this game. And this is going to be my last playthrough of this game. There are 2 other people that we could romance. There's Rod and there is Waltz, and I'm gonna do those on my free time, but I highly recommend you guys go out and get this game for yourself. Romance these boys. They're so worth it. The twists and turns in the story and the plot, so worth it. I can't sing this game's praises enough, guys. It's so good. I'm gonna let the rest of the credits play out. But that is it for me, guys. I hope that you will join me next time on Tuesday when we play the last of 99 Spirits. I'm gonna have to come up with more games to play because I really want to share these games with you. I really want to share just these wonderful, sweet games that are just so like hidden gems. So I hope that you guys will join me next time on Tuesday when we start playing 99 Spirits again, and we hopefully finish that up. And then on Thursday we'll be playing Okami, and then Friday I'll have to pick a new game to play, so look forward to that. Alright, thanks guys for joining me today. I hope to see you next time, and that's it for me. Later.